We have got two people who are going to guide us in our discussion. The first one is someone who is providing thought leadership at our local academic institutions around public finance management. She's going to walk us through, I'm tempted to always say honorable because I work with members of parliament, but she's not an honorable. Soon, hopefully she'll be professor or doctor, then I'll be comforted because there'll be, a prefix. So Barbara Maiwasha is with us today. She's from the University of Zimbabwe, and she works quite a lot on this issue. Every day. So she's going to just come and pakura for us, what does it mean? And I'm sure that some of the questions you already had, hopefully some of them because munenge matova nepressure mutoti kweiyo parliament yacho iri kuitei aiwa musacheme chakarongeka zvisingaiti tina honorable vachauyawo vagoti gaga so that patinenge taakuita hurukuro iyaya taakuita hurukuro tine ruzivo ndizvoka class tapedza iye zvino taakuenda kunana zvinorevei tiri tese very good. So if I could just hand over the session, please let's clap hands for her. Thank you.
Good morning once again. I'm happy to be part of this event because as academics we would also want to work with the hands-on side of things. We practice public finance management, but we also need those who have hands-on elements on the issue. So I hope we're going to find this presentation insightful. So basically, my presentation is arranged in terms of 5 issues, but I will not take time. We have key issues in public finance management. Then we talk about legal and institutional frameworks guiding public finance management. Then I have also tried to jot some general challenges pertaining public finance management in Zimbabwe, and also the need for institutional and legal reforms. Then lastly, I will refer to international best practices in public finance management. I want to also understand maybe what other jurisdictions, what other countries maybe advocate for in terms of effective reforms, institutional and legal reforms. So public finance management basically revolves around managing public monies, like what other earlier presenters alluded to. It involves revenue collection and expenditure of government funds, and trying to make sure that we manage so that we achieve public interest at the end of the day. The idea is that out of efficient public finance management, we have citizen trust, we have a mutual shared trust between the citizens and the government, because we are saying the government is more like an agent, and the citizens as stakeholders, we are the principals. We have contributions to the national fiscus, so we are the taxpayers. For this reason, the government has to be accountable. They have to practice efficient public finance management systems. Then key issues in public finance management, we look at elements such as frameworks, public revenue, public expenditure, the budgeting, and normative considerations. I will not go much on most of these key issues, but maybe on the legal and institutional frameworks. So you find that these legal and institutional frameworks, they are key. They are more like the nerve center of public finance management, because we are saying we can hardly understand public finance outside these key legal and institutional frameworks. They set parameters or frameworks under which public sector finance activities must be undertaken. They define maybe the roles, they define the powers, and maybe the confinements of different fiscal players, be it the minister, be it maybe other institutions. So they are important because they detail maybe the operating parameters of the fiscal players. Next slide. Currently in Zimbabwe, we have a cocktail of a number of legislative frameworks governing public finance management, and these are listed, as you can see. And of interest, we have 3 main legislative frameworks. We have the Public Finance Management Act, the Audit Office Act, as well as the Constitution, which is the mother of all laws. And then we can also talk about Finance and Appropriation Acts and other treasury instructions that can be passed from time to time. Next slide. Then when we talk of institutional frameworks, we are now talking about the implementing or administrative mechanisms, the institutions that are involved in policy finance matters. For example, we have the Ministry of Finance, the Parliament, the Auditor General, and the PFM. So I'll go to the major challenges affecting public finance management in Zimbabwe. I think key is the inconsistencies in the legal frameworks, which forms maybe the main thrust of this session. We find that there are inconsistencies when we look at the legal frameworks governing public finance management, especially in relation to the Constitution. We are saying all the other legislative frameworks, they should be aligned to the Constitution, because the Constitution is the mother of all laws. So from the previous presenters, I'm sure we noted a number of disparities between the Public Finance Management Act and the Constitution. We also have the same even for the Audit Office Act. For example, whilst the new Constitution, the 2013 Constitution, refers to the Office of the Auditor General as the Office of the Auditor General, the Audit Office Act still refers to this office as the Controller and Auditor General. And we also have, even when we refer to the public finance management, we also have inconsistencies when we talk of issues to do with devolution, which is covered in the Constitution, Chapter 14. We also have issues to do with maybe effective parliamentary oversight and other issues that are not in coherence with the Constitution. And then another challenge that we have in Zimbabwe pertaining the management of public finance management, I think it is the absence of effective parliamentary oversight. We have the Constitution, section 299, providing for this role by the Parliament, but I feel that the Parliament does not really contribute much. For example, let's look at the budgeting system. We rarely find meaningful changes. We rarely find maybe challenges to the budget from the parliamentarians. Maybe not to blame them, but maybe because of different backgrounds. We can acknowledge that public finance management is a technical area, and maybe these MPs, they do not have that financial background in some instances. And also the issue of party loyalty. We also have the whip system. It can also hinder effective maybe contributions of the MPs. Then we also have lack of autonomy, especially by auditing institutions. I think this has been a major problem for several years. We find that the Auditor General, the nature of appointment on its own, if you refer to the Constitution, it says that the Auditor General shall be appointed by the President with consultation with the Parliament, but you find that the President is a political figure, and also the Parliament, in the case of Zimbabwe, we have experiences that a single party has been dominating the Parliament. So it affects the autonomy of the Auditor General, because even at a personal level, you can imagine you have been appointed by the President, you have been selected amongst the rest. You can feel obliged maybe to pay allegiance. You can feel obliged. We can also affect maybe the Auditor General in the performance of their duties. Then also talking about autonomy, in the case of Zimbabwe, the AG or the Auditor General is not empowered to directly report to the Parliament, but they have to go through the Minister of Finance, which is a challenge because it affects their autonomy, their independence. They depend on the Minister of Finance. Although we have a provision when we look at public finance, Management Act, chapter section 15, that they can also go ahead if there is a delay in tabulation of reports. They can also go ahead and face the Parliament, but it affects this effective role because unlike other countries like South Africa, where the AG can go directly to the Parliament, in the case of Zimbabwe, the channel is a bit long. And then also talking about autonomy, we are saying the role of the Auditor General is to be a watchdog, to make sure that funds have been used for the intended purposes. So they need budget to conduct their activities. But in most cases, you find that they do not have sufficient funds to cover a wider area. They are dependent again on the Ministry of Finance. Sometimes we've had cases whereby they are not given money on time. Sometimes they are given maybe less than what they need to consume. So this is a difficult issue, because the surest way of killing something is to starve it of resources. If they do not have resources, how are they going to conduct the so much needed auditing of government departments and entities? Then we can also talk about even the issue of lack of sanctioning powers by the Auditor General. It is one thing to discover a crime, and it is another to punish the offender. If you just maybe unravel cases of corruption kept under the carpet, but you do not have powers to solve those problems, then it is more like a ritualistic role by the Auditor General. That's why we find that year in, year out, we find the same results. Written in the Auditor General's reports, we find the same cases of corruption repeating themselves in government entities, because the Auditor General does not have powers to sanction anyone. And then we can talk about lack of compliance. We are saying because the Auditor General does not have a lot of powers, sometimes we experience lack of compliance from government entities and departments. Some of them, they delay in terms of submission of their reports for auditing. And we have also witnessed a case whereby the Auditor General is not given the adequate financial statements by a certain government entity, and then they are not able to audit in those cases. So it becomes a challenge, because sometimes you hear cases that a financial statement was lost or has been stolen, and then the Auditor General in those cases does not do anything. Then we also have absence of meaningful participation, especially from the citizens. Although we have a constitutional provision that the citizens have to participate, but I'm sure there are no tangible mechanisms or strategies to ensure that the contributions by participants or by citizens are taken into account. So from this, I think there is need for strong case for institutional and legal reforms, because all these challenges, they emanate from either inadequate frameworks or maybe gaps in these legal and institutional frameworks. So there is need for these reforms so that we have socio-economic development. The reforms can also help us to maximize efficient use of resources. We can have the value for money. Then we can also create transparency and accountability. And most importantly, we'll have a good service delivery in the public interest. Next slide. Then I recommend that there is need for alignment of different pieces of legislation with the Constitution, since I said that the Constitution is the mother of all laws. And then I also recommend that we should have audit committees being constituted effectively in all government ministries. Because that element has been a missing link for quite a long time. We have few ministries maybe trying to adhere to this audit committee's provision. Then the AG should be granted sanctioning powers. Then we should also establish an independent budget for the AG. There is also need for the AG to be empowered to report directly to the Parliament. Then I also think that the MPs should be trained pertaining their oversight role. And then we need succinct constitutional provisions for disciplining and punishing corrupt behaviors. I like the example that was quoted by the previous speaker on, is it Kenya, whereby they were saying we have a stipulated time for a particular offense. In as much as we can say you are going to spend these years in jail because you've stolen cows, you should also have a particular constitutional provision in the Zimbabwean framework providing for what should be done, how many years should be given for particular corrupt crimes pertaining finance. And then the budget process must be transparent and inclusive, and it should also make sure that it is people-centered, so that we accommodate all the issues that have been raised pertaining gender responsiveness, pertaining transparency, pertaining maybe fiscal prudence. We are the people, and we need to have maybe the public finance management processes going for the people, supporting what the people have in their mind, supporting maybe the interest of the people, the public good and the public interest. Then I think you can even observe the international best practices for public finance management reforms. We need a committed leadership, because good governance cascades from top downwards. So we need the government in power to start with these reforms, to make sure that they are committed in spearheading the process. Then we also need frequent, consistent communication. Communication is important so that the ministries know what they are expected to do, the government entities know what they are expected to do. Then we also need ongoing training and support so that we have effective management of resources and state property. There is also need for strong performance and evaluation mechanisms so that we check our progress. And then there's also need for strong internal and external oversight, appropriate governance committee structures, and compliance and decision-making tools to make sure that we have maybe written protocols on maybe how the procurement practices should go about, on maybe how certain financial activities should be undertaken in the government. So you find that from these international best practices, we learn, we derive lessons as Zimbabwe to make sure that we keep focusing on maybe the nature of our oversight, the nature of training, issues to do with good governance and compliance mechanisms. I think at this point in time, let me rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to, no. I'm right here. We've got about 3 minutes. And she's just taken us through. Right, she's just taken us through various presentation. If there is someone who would like to squeeze in a question regarding what she has presented, now is the opportunity. So it's not really a discussion, yeah, but she's just going to clarify anything that she raised. Is only one question? Okay.
I just want clarification on the point of the challenges of the PFM, where she mentioned the absence of meaning participation. My question is, who in this participation? Is the generality of the population, or we are referring to the status quo?
Okay, on that point I was referring to the citizens. I was referring to a people-centered budget approach, most particularly.
All right. Any other question or clarification regarding her presentation? Okay, I'm going to split it evenly. Mr. Mnatsi and Comrade Dan. So if you can get this mic to Mr. Mnatsi, he can start. Comrade, I'm going to cut you off. That's it. Just wait for Mr. Mnatsi. Mr. Mnatsi first, please.
Thank you, Madam. It's just a point of clarification on the independence of the Auditor General. I think the position of the Auditor General is enhanced by the creation of the Audit Act. Previously, we did not have the Audit Act, but it is there now. And the issue of the controller function has been removed and allocated to the Accountant General. Now, when you go to the Audit Act, it is the Auditor General. That's the term that is preferred. And then, of course, I think another issue we should be aware of is the separation of our powers. This is a democratic state, and we are still following, of course, the Westminster type of governance, where we go to the judiciary, parliament, and the executive. The Auditor General produces reports. He reports to Parliament, but functionally, she reports to Parliament. And then, of course, administratively, the Auditor General goes through the Minister of Finance. But however, the reports go through the Minister of Finance, who will table those reports in Parliament. In the event there's a delay, as you rightfully said, there's a delay, or the Minister of Finance delays to submit the report to Parliament, the Auditor General is empowered to take that report to the Speaker of Parliament. And the budget, of course, as the budget, in terms of Part 3 of Section 305, there are separate now estimates of expenditure for the Auditor General. I wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much. I should not go any further.
Yes, that's okay. I think it was an opportunity. I don't think it's required to respond. I just want to respond, but he was clarifying and giving and sharing information. John, so if I could have your
my Indaba, inini maichira ndidi now, because he has been doing great work in terms of producing audit reports. Vachinyasoti director kuti kunyasoitwa uori nekusiri kufamba zvakanaka ndekupi. But in my thinking is we don't have culture of transparency and accountability. We don't have the political will, because mukazora tagwa budget committee those mwechete zvatotaura isi maseja as citizens. So where are we losing it? I think nyaya culture, nyaya trust, nyaya political will is very important in dealing with these issues.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're not unfortunately, Honourable, if I could just give you 2 minutes. Can I release you? Because you've gone through your presentation, and I think we are well understood. If I could ask Honourable Mona to come up and set up, if you have any technology requirements, whilst I will then, Honourable, if I allow you, would you? Thank you. And then it means that we will have to give the comrade in the back who will be ready. Thank you so much.
Sorry, it's not that I've come in late. It's issues of accountability. We all understand them. So even if I've come in late, the agenda is the same. So I wouldn't want people to say Melissa wants to talk. But the issues that you bring up are critical. In that, first of all, the Auditor General does a sterling job. No wonder why, as Parliament, when she wanted to be removed, we refused. What we must be asking ourselves is the recommendations that she gives. What then happens to them? I mean, I was just saying today, there's no point for the Minister of Finance to allow, or even us as Parliament, to pass any budget to any ministry that is not complied with those recommendations. But for a very long time, that has happened. The issue that you bring up, that there is no political will, it's important. Honourable Mona is here. He's a professional. He's one of the few men in Parliament I think knows what he's doing. And despite him belonging to the ruling party, he's progressive. But there lies the problem. Is the ruling party prepared to have its ministers go to jail? No. This is where the whipping system is. While all this work is done, where does it stop? The ruling party is not prepared to have one of its ministers. Once that happens, they then caucus the whipping system, which you must understand. They then meet at the HQ to say, no. Zvamakuita izvi hazvichaita nekuti makuexpose minister. Mukaexpose minister musangano waakusafa. Zvochifira ipapo. So that's all I wanted to say. For as long as we are here wasting time, if the ruling party is not prepared to walk the talk on corruption and see its ministers being put in prison while they are in office, then we're wasting time at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. If I could just have the comments. Honourable Mona, if I could ask you, if you have any technology issues, you'll be okay? All right, that's fine. So if I could just have
actually part of what I wanted to ask has been covered, fortunately. But I just wanted to understand from Barbara, what would she suggest should be done in terms of, because she was suggesting that the Auditor General's hands are tied to the extent that she or he cannot execute his duties efficiently. So what should be put in place? What's the way forward? Because we can't live like this, because the hands are tied, because the person, politically is tied. So what's the way forward?
Thank you. I'm going to allow Grace to just balance out.
I think someone earlier on spoke about the issue of being unaccountable. I think that is our challenge as Zimbabweans generally. And this culture starts from when we were very young and within the homes. Because the same corrupt ministers and the ones that are not accountable, that are now leading Zimbabwe, are the same people socialized under a system that gives
people being unaccountable, that leeway. So I think it's critical that we also begin to hammer in issues around the culture of accountability in whatever we do. Because if I'm not accountable with my money from home, how am I supposed to be accountable with the money that I'm looking after on behalf of the citizens? So I think we need to critically look at issues to do with power and money and accountability so that we inculcate a culture of leadership that ensures people are accountable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Barbara, if you could just take those two comments into your remarks, and then we will get to the next session.
Okay, I'll first address the issue of what should be done to maybe strengthen the office of the Auditor General. I think core issues or critical issues to be considered revolves around maybe changing the nature of appointments of the Auditor General. I'm sure it is a technical office, and for that reason it should be appointed on technical criteria. Although the Constitution provides that, acknowledging that the Auditor General should be appointed on the basis of merit and should have an educational background and experience and so forth, but I think we should not have the President maybe appointing or playing a role in the appointment of the Auditor General. I also think that just like in other jurisdictions, the Auditor General should have the power to report straight to the Parliament. We acknowledge the issue of separation of powers, like he mentioned, but if we want to empower the Auditor General to be free in terms of executing their duties, in this case, Ms. Mildred Shiri, we should make sure that there are no maybe hurdles, procedural hurdles in terms of maybe facing the Parliament. Just like countries like South Africa, we should have the Auditor General reporting directly to the Parliament. I think that would maybe go a long way in enhancing maybe the autonomy of the Auditor General.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Barbara, for your responses to clarifications that were being sought. If I could now ask Honorable Mona to come up, you have the floor. Thank you. Support is coming up.
Sorry, ma'am. Just on the point of clarity, I think it would be wrong for us to allow the auditor general appointed by the president. It goes through Parliament first. And on that, when Parliament says no, like they did the last time, then Ndudzo was the one appointed. And Parliament said no. Then Maichiri came in because Parliament is saying no. So I don't know.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable. I really appreciate the fact that the Parliament was very visible in terms of retaining Ms. Shiri in office. But overall, when we look at the fact that the Auditor General is appointed by the President in consultation with the Parliament, in the case of Zimbabwe, I think although indirectly, we end up having that political connotation, because in most cases, 2/3 of the Parliament is comprised of maybe the ruling party, or it is the dominant party. So it goes back to the point you raised earlier on to say that can they go against, in some cases, can they go against maybe the will of the President? It will be very difficult, if not impossible, to say no when the President has said we recommended someone for appointment. So realistically, I think the fact that we have maybe 2/3 majority of the Parliament, in most cases comprised of the ruling party, and then they are of the same ideology with the President, it also affects that autonomy.
Okay, thank you very much. We are going to have an opportunity to discuss. There are many things that are coming up, but tichazvitaura tigozviongorora. Ngatichipakurai tifambe. Honorable Musangano wa maoko menyu.
Thank you very much, Madam Sakile, for giving me this opportune time to address the distinguished delegates. Let me recognize the presence of the Board of Chair of Zimcourt, Komam Kasiri, my fellow honorable member, Honorable Temba Peter Mliswa. Thank you for joining us. Zimcourt board members here present, our Deputy Director in the Budget Office, Pekai Shivore, government officials here present, all stakeholders and members of the Fourth Estate. I want to thank you very much, and I know the significance that you play, especially when it comes to media. You can build or destroy, especially some of us politicians. So let me ask them to recognize your presence. Comrades and friends, I want to be very, very frank, especially during this presentation. But before I go any further, there is the issue that my brother has raised. Kuku Parliament, if you recall, those who were in the previous seminar that was facilitated through Zincot, we're talking of the whipping system. And also, Madam Barbara, you've also touched on that we lack oversight as MPs. But since we are gathered here, it is very important and of paramount importance to address where is it failing. Nkuma Masimba and Comrade Danzodizo was saying during tea time, inga budget offices so here I'm not going to go through what has been said before, but also to introspect, to say where are we failing as Parliament. And one of the most fundamental issues is, especially during the political arena, whereby if you were of the, maybe not the G40s in terms of age, if you were in the 20, 30, 40s, one would assume you are from the opposition because of age. And it was the culture that maybe the ruling party was dominated by the elderly, those who were. But I think the culture changed. And also people were expecting that by the advent of the young techies, the way that is known in the political circles, things were going to change. But you still say things haven't changed. So where are we going wrong? Well, some of us, we come from the political, the ruling party. And at times we fail to administer some of the issues that you talk. Are we doing that reluctantly, or there is something that we do? But Madame Barbara raised a very pertinent issue. I come from a political party background, and I also have to serve the interests of my master, which is one issue. So at the end of the day, the moment I stand here and start castigating my master, what do you think will happen after this workshop? So, and we're talking of the supremacy of the Constitution, Section 2, which says the Constitution is the supreme law on the land. And how then do we balance? Because we are the ones who crafted this supreme law. And we are saying we've got what we call Section 129K. It calls for any party to just write to the Speaker. I'm not saying to say the allegation, just writing that Mona is no longer a member of ZANU-PF. That's enough to the Speaker. That's what we call recalling a member of Parliament. So it's a clause in the supreme law. So we are talking of supremacy, and we also have this law, which says there is the recalling of the member of Parliament, regardless of the political party that he comes from or she comes from. If that letter is received by the Speaker, then you are actually recalled. So there is the issue of whipping system vis-a-vis the issue of implementation of these issues. So we might be gathered here like what my brother said, which and then fail to deliver. Where are we getting it wrong? It's some of the laws that we have. At the end of the day, it's not like, just to give an example of the Public Finance Management Act. Section 28, it talks of the involvement of the minister to approach the Parliament when he's engaging into budgetary issues. But there is what we call a peremptory in the legal terms, and the declaratory statement. Peremptory is a must, but it says the minister may. So the minister may decide not to come to my committee in this case. He can just go ahead and engage into budgetary issues without the involvement of the committees. And for your information, the committees are the engines of Parliament. They must drive the business of Parliament. So at the end of the day, if we have laws that actually give that leeway to the minister to say, no, the minister may. So it's at his discretion to come or not. So I'm saying at the end of the day, you've seen that she was represented very well on the issues. And we're also wondering, is he coming from Parliament? But he is a technocrat. But what you are saying, I cannot say it here, but I'm just giving an example. But some of the statements that he was giving, I also have to know that I come from a political party. So if I stand here and say, no, the Mtuli must be fired tomorrow. Of course, these are my personal. But to him, he's a technocrat to say if these are the benchmarks. If the minister doesn't bring reports to parliament, he has failed. But we are saying with the new dispensation, I'm also happy to say it's not what we suggested, what we proffered as a committee, that wasn't captured. When about 54 items, I remember, is that correct, Chori? That we came through public hearings, that were also embraced by the Minister of Finance in his budget. So at the end of the day, it's not like whatever we say is not going to be taken on board. And also, we are also mandated through Section 141 of the Constitution to say you must participate in the issues to do with the governance of this nation. But surprisingly, the last time we were together through Zincoats, maybe a month, some few weeks before, I said we are having a microfinance amendment bill, HB 11 of 2018. That was gazetted on the 21st of December, 2018. And we're calling for the people to come and proffer their views and suggestions. But to tell you, we're struggling to have maybe 50 or so members. And this is the nation of Zimbabwe. And at the end of the day, the amendment goes through. And we gather here and say, but this microfinance bill was the way it was crafted. So, who is to blame? So we are also to blame in terms of the citizens. Because you are not using your rights as the citizens of Zimbabwe, especially the civil society organizations. You must take this initiative. I say, tell the people that we must contribute towards the building of the nation. But at the end of the day, you go around, and very soon we'll be coming out to do our public hearings on the budget issues. We go around, we struggle to get people. We struggle to get views. And we are saying the oversight role of Parliament is now we need to interrogate. And just believe me not, you will see that as committees, we are doing our work. We'll then approach, we'll call the minister, the reserving of governor, whoever, the local authorities, to account for their actions. So I think you must be rest assured that now we'll do our work, and if one is recalled, then he's recalled for doing the exact thing. But we'll be mandated to do that through the Constitution. So you see that from Section 298, if you go through the Constitution, it talks of financial management. And Koma John articulated very well on the issues of 298. This is basically the management of finance of this nation. But what happens? No one takes it on board. And why is it that? And there's also the issue of condonation. Maybe just to add on that, whereby the minister, if he spends without the authority of parliament, within 60, at most 60 days, he must come before parliament so that he seeks that condonation. So it is very important that as we are seated here, we must know the tools that are in our arsenal that must deliver this nation from this predicament that we are having. And also as citizens of both Section 149 or subsection 1 of the Constitution, which says the right to petition Parliament. So at the end of the day, if the right to petition Parliament is enshrined in the minds of the citizens of Zimbabwe, why are we not using it? The right to petition Parliament calls for the enactment, changing of laws that are not feasible, and that you say they are not fit for the nation of Zimbabwe. But we are as citizens who rarely get this petition. And before us as a committee also we have one petition regarding the issue of pensions. And very soon we'll be tabling the report of our findings, whereby one was talking of the issues to do with the loss of value during the Zim dollar era, and what has to be done, and mandating the Commission of Inquiry report to be implemented. And these are some of the issues. So at the end of the day, Madam Barbara also talked of the alignment of the laws. This is what we are supposed to do. And we assist in this matter to make sure that laws are actually addressed. But my question that I also pose to you as well is, as civil society organizations, various stakeholders here present, besides just saying the government is doing 1, 2, 3, what are the issues? You must also take the government to task. There is also the issue of monitoring and evaluation of the citizens. To say these are the programs, but what are we doing? We are not doing anything. And our Honorable Speaker of Parliament, African Dela, has always said that there are certain issues, again, relating to the supremacy of the Constitution. Section 125 of our Supreme Court, subsection 1, it talks about the qualities and the entry qualifications to be a member of Parliament. One is, he must be registered voter. 2, he must be 21 years and above. Those are the only 2. So we're taking off the capacity of honorable member. I'm not saying we are not, but I'm just saying those are the only 2 qualifications that you need to be a voter and 21 years. So here you are seized with MPs that would not even articulate some of these issues, and you say they are the lawmakers. And at the end of the day, you just put some clause in the small print in some of these issues, and you say, I know, we passed the budget, or what is the implication? So at the end of the day, how do we align that? Is it high time that we should say now, in terms of what to be a member of parliament, he must have these credentials? I think it's high time, and it's up to us as citizens to petition parliament to say the level of knowledge that is being demonstrated by members of parliament is not adequate, and you change the laws. So at the end of the day, it's not about us as parliamentarians failing, but above all, I just want to say it is the nation of Zimbabwe, and it is the task to steer the way forward hinges on us. And basically, it's easier to say, no, this one is failing. It's quite easy to do that. But what is it in terms of ownership? I always give an example of my brother seated here, Honorable Melissa. His frankness and his representative roles. That even if before he was, before he was the chairman of the Mines Committee, and the issues that he was articulating in that committee, vis-a-vis some of the committees of parliament that we have, how then do we strike a balance to say, when one is coming from the opposition perspective, because in committees we don't have parties, we have honorable members to discuss real issues. And you find that real issues emanate from committees. So try us, equip us, and be friends of these committees, so that when you've got issues, you are free to communicate through the clerk, through the chairpersons, have issues discussed. And also I'm happy to say that if the president has embraced the issue of zero corruption, why can't you test us as parliament to see these are the issues, unearth these issues, and then we take it from, take it on from that. So I want to thank you very much. You know, as politicians, if you are given a mic, you want to talk, but Madam Sakile, thank you very much for the time that you have given.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you. That was, if you could just give him a round of applause. I think it was a fair structure in terms of the presentations we saw today, where we had the administrative side of Parliament speaking to some of the issues, but also to have the chairperson of the committee, talking to the big ticket issues, as it were. And I think we've seen the contribution also by Honorable Lisa that was also raising the points. And if we go back to the discussions, you guys had already raised these points. So there's a meeting of the minds in here. I don't think that we are arguing. We are actually on the same page. But and I welcome that. I want to now start off the program and we're going to have a little bit of order. What we're going to do is, I am going to need you to say what you want to say. Yeah? I want you to say what you want to say, but if you have got a recommendation for someone, at least parliament inga anditi kana usina chakadaro wobva wataura kuti dai hurumende yatibva kuti tirikuita kuti tigorongedza zvamuri zvamunenge muchicontributa, but kana iri comment yekuti unoda kungopombonoka taurai makasununguka. It's an open meeting. We are going to be tweeting it. We're using #transparency. It's an open meeting, so you are able to put even your comments. You can also put them online. We'll be also following up on the online feed. The tag is ZimCode1 at ZimCode1. Do you have to tell Fama? Facebook, and I will do 2. Pagaramaita order. Dishoka? Kana ndikona musina order todzokera ku 1-1. Disho. Maoko. All right. Can you take, let's go 1, the gentleman in the brown was first, 2, 3, and then I'll come here, 4, 5. So 2 people, and then 2 people, and 2 people.
Okay, thank you. My comment is on the honorable we just finished here. You talked about the issue that people don't come a lot when you have these public meetings, public consultation meetings. Yes, we don't come. Why am I saying yes at the first place? Because we make recommendations. I follow certain things and then we don't see the result. We don't see even our recommendations there being implemented. Then I would just say, Why should I keep on wasting time and coming in, year out, saying the same thing, and they are not taking it on board? That's my comment on that.
Oh yes. Mine is on the issue which was discussed on the presentation of my sister there about the Auditor General. I think the main theme which I felt is necessary is to avoid the bureaucracy of having the information coming to Parliament. Say the Auditor General discovers that there is something which is happening. She's not supposed to be taking the report to the minister. Instead, she should take it to the what? To Parliament. Because once we have a bureaucratic mode of, translocating information, obviously it means the information may be staggered somewhere. Then secondly, I'm looking into the issue of where we say we must align our laws to the new constitution. I'm sorry about our constitution because we still refer it to be a new constitution. Because mwana wangu andakazwana 2013 izo zvakutoita grade 1. But we still just say call that child a baby. So I think we must do something to effect the aligning of our laws to the what? To the constitution. I think all problems will be gone. Because we are hearing some of the parts of the constitution is being amended. How can we amend something which is not worked? We have got a constitution which is in place. We say it is being amended. What are we amending on something which have never worked? It's unfortunate.
Right. Morning. I'm Councillor Muriba from Domboshavak, GRTC. Ndrukuda kuti nini, if Isusuma public officers tiri reckless like my brother the Liswa, tokona kuseva community, kana tokona kuseva mamasis. Ndrukudaro trukuti Isusu pataurwa bye na honorable Gunzi, kana ndapiwa position ndrukuda kuseva master wangu. No, atufana unyangi no seva master, atufana no seva rushinji. Ask mambu yangu aripana, but they know kuti inini I'm from MDC Alliance, but kana ndakuita development atodi kuzvinzwa. Saka trukuti Isusu takanga tichida kuti tiseve vanhu ngatimise chimusangano yes ndotikitira tiisa baba nawo ngatiseve vanhu ngavaba pane mutemo uri kutaura kuti kana wapinda muoffice anditika chibvisa bhachi rakupinza muoffice iroro wochiseva vanhu. Ndo zvandoda kutaura chete.
Okay, my name is Charles Kontari from the Zimco Health Cluster. Regarding what the previous speaker alluded to, he said that the parliament, I want to say that the parliamentary portfolio committees, budget consultative process, as Zimco through the health cluster, we contributed something to them. For instance, the uptake of the Abuja Declaration to augment our health service delivery by the budget. But it goes on not to address that. Where still the herald of late, as what my brother John Maketo said, that the herald reports that patients and corpses are sharing the same space at Chegutu. Section 76 of the Constitution talks about the right to health. But as citizens, are we enjoying that? A big answer is no. After opting for a clause which stipulates that if resources are available, Zimbabwean resources are more than much what we term is available. Secondly, the other problem as Zimbabweans, we actually are not in picture of the laws that govern us as the citizens. With the former no's to the 2013 Constitution of Zimbabwe, changing tack to be now the advocates of the yes, yes, yes. What was there to eat for them to change tack and say, yes, yes, yes. We need to know the truth. And only the truth shall set us free. Thank you.
I think it would out to chairperson wesimukota tachakaunganira inyaya yemari zvikwereti zvinoitwa nenyika at the end of the day kana nemakanzuro tisu vanhu tinoita sei tinobhadhara. I think Zimcode over the years takaita noise nenyaya yereserve bank loan yakangonzi yava yestate asi vakatora mari vanhu vacho varipo list iyo ikaramba kubuda kuti ndivanani chikwereti zvino chachestate kureva kuti vanhu tisita kubhadharira vanhu vakadya chi mari vari mumapurazi vari kuwedzera mari muhomwe dzavo. Ini nyaya ndiri kuda kuti nyaya totaura corruption, totaura capacity building yema-MPs particularly for this portfolio yezvemari. Then corruption, I think as citizens yasvika nguva yekuti toti ngaroverwe akaba handisi kunsaita violence asi ndiri kungotaura kuti macitizens tobuda panze toti akaba kujeri nemhaka yei, nemhaka yekuti zvichida ari umwe wangu for years mustruggle also panenge pane tikakaklika katel when people become councillors, when people become MPs pane kakatel kerespect nedignity yeumbavha. Therefore what it means isusu tisina ushamwari nawo, we say crucify them, then we prompt the head of the state kuti asungise avanhu ivo asungwe mujeri. Hallelujah. Then the second aspect ndeye vanhu vanomba makomiti. At one time city council yedu yeHarare had a finance chairperson. Handisi kutaura zveacademic qualification, ndinzwisise ipapo. Ndiri kutaura desire yokuti kana ndichifarirawo nyaya dzokurima ndeswa mukomiti nyaya dzokudini dzokurima nemhaka kuti ndinokwanisa kucontributa. Pakanga pana chairperson wefinance anga asina kana idea nefinance, anoitei nematechnocrats mafundisi anoaconvinza chii. So the same applies necommittee yatiri kutaura yebudget. Vane here chido nepublic finance, vane here negeneral understanding yokuti zvino mari simple accounts kuti ndikabvisa $5 pa $10 kwasara mari. Zvino kana tichienda kuna CEO kuGMB akanzi watiri kuona pane mapango emotikari asi parastatations yakabroka, tinoconvinza sei? Muri kuona nemhaka kuti maparastata zvino ukaenda those people ma-executive head are sitting pretty but zvinhu zvavakagarira zvakaora. Are they able to then vanhu ava kuti vati imimi vakuru chimbouyai pano izvi zvamakaita izvi makazviita sei? So ndo nyaya dzandandichingoda ngoti inini tiri ipapo isusu tinatsoonesana nemhaka kuti nyika iyi ndeyedu tese. Nhasi ndiye MP uyo ndeyokanzera but at the end of the day mangwana ndiniwo. Hatiswa tirambe tine nyaya yehuori, tinoda kuti titransforme for the state to be better. Ezvino vanhu vakaenda kuUK havadi kudzoka nei kwakanaka. Vasvitani.
I see you, Masimba. I recognize your hand. I'm now going to I've just given 5 men the opportunity to speak. There were some questions that were directed to Honorable Mona, but you actually did say it in your presentation that 33 recommendations were actually included. 34, apologies. 54. 54 recommendations, I think it was your question that you raised. 54 recommendations were actually taken up by the Ministry of Finance through the Treasury, the budget process, if I got that correctly. But I will give you an opportunity to respond to you. There was a question directed specifically to you, Barbara, around the issues around strengthening accountability for the Auditor General's office. There were questions directed to perhaps Honorable Ndiswa, if you're willing to take it, around the issues pertaining to the oversight capacity. And the question around capacity and competence for elected members of Parliament, and it correlates to the councillor who raised the issues around the ability to exercise the functions of elected office regardless of the public purse. I'm not sure if you're able to respond, Honorable Mon. I think that one is going to be a quick one for you. But I'm going to ask the ladies in the room to get ready for 5 questions because I've given 5 minutes, so 5 women must ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Sakile. Maybe to respond to one of the issues raised by my brother on my left, the issue of recommendations. We were going, I'm sure, beginning this year, in this 9th Parliament, we are going to do what you call post-budget feedback to the masses of Zimbabwe. So we'll go right round as a committee through the initiative to say, when we came last year, these are the issues that you raised, and these are the issues that were taken on board by the minister. So that by the time we go to them again to seek for their views, then we won't be having this question to say, no, last time you were here, we told you this and that you didn't implement. So we're going to tell them what was captured in the budget and what wasn't captured, and the reasons, if we can do that. And also on the issue that was raised by my brother, Councillor, the issue of serving the people. That is the normal thing to do. Whenever you're elected, you're supposed to serve the interests of the people. But if you remember well that there are then other issues that emanate. Once if you are in office, we were talking of, I'm glad he is coming from the opposition perspective, to say when he is in Parliament, he's free to say whatever he feels. And vis-a-vis those who are from the ruling party. So you also need to factor in those two issues to say, we've got ruling party, we've got the independent candidates, we've got the members of the opposition. How do they debate? How can we synchronize that in our constitution? To say we don't give powers to political parties to influence individuals when they are in the house. That's why I gave you section 129K. To say it's a clause in the constitution that cripples members of parliament when they are in the house. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Barbara, are you ready? Do you want to wait a bit? I said thank you. Barbara, are you ready?
Yes.
If you can take it.
Okay, on the issue of maybe the Office of the Auditor General and accountability, I think it all goes back to what I said before, that we should try and remove the bureaucratic structures. Let us have the Auditor General reporting straight to the Parliament. Let us remove the other third party so that we have efficiency in terms of maybe a report of statements. And then I would also, though not part of this, I would also want to comment on what he said pertaining the need to save the people, and also the need to maybe remove the jacket of the political jacket while you want to save the people. But I think realistically it can have different implications, because at one side you want to save the public, but on the other side you also have to defend, to protect your job. What happens if maybe you lose your job in the process? We are human beings and we should be practical. Are you really willing to sacrifice that as our honorable members of parliament? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the issue of capacity and competency is key. I think it's the people's constitution. It's the people's constitution. It's the people who push for it, then it becomes a constitution. 125, I think Honorable Mbona spoke about that. What said, do we really understand the constitution? Do we understand our rights? That, to me, kills it for myself, because I think of Mbuya Barikumusha, avasati vane constitution muchishona muridzi wavo, matonga asati nemuchindevere. So pana patakagara tiri mutaundi, asi ruzhinji rwevanhu muri rumaruseti. Chero bhaibheri chaicho riri muchindevere, ndosaka machechi achizara iri muchishona. But the sacred document of the country is in English. So when we are sitting here, who are we really serving? Or we're just serving ourselves? For as long as the constitution is not in the languages as enshrined in the constitution, 16 of them, we are also wasting time. It must get to a point to mbuya vanoya pamusangano vaverenga, ungezva vanovenga vhesi. Vachati vhesi yakadai inotaura chakati, otati constitution number yakati inotaura zvakati, zvamuri kuita handizvo. So let's now ask ourselves, how many people have sight of that constitution and understand it? So first of all, the language issue is critical, because we are actually not even complying with our own constitution, Honorable Mon. The very same constitution that we've said must have 16 languages. What are we doing about it? Mu parliament chache munakataura chitonga hawa understand hapana ano translate. Saka unodebata sei? In chitonga handichinzwi. Kungombera chete. Kuti atituka ameno. Okay? So ndino contribute sei ku debate yacho inini. Ndirimo ndisina kunza zvata translate hapana. So parliament yacho haina kana mechanism yekuunza translator kuti ataure kuti zvataurwa ndezvipi. Sakungoombera zvongopera hapana no contribute. So to me, the constitution, we talk about constitutionalism. Do we understand what constitutionalism is? We like to use this term, but do we understand what constitutionalism is? Imi muri papa, we don't understand that. What is required to be a candidate? 21 of age, voter, citizen of the country. Zvapera. Ina angu ndotaura motunzira zvimbuya uko. Zvisekuru. Nekuti zvaseva musangana for a long time. So what I'm trying to say before you go on and take this, it's politics of patronage which is there, not politics of service. But that emanates from the political parties. Then you ask my political parties, could MDC Alliance, criteria rekuita councillor chi, hapana. Kuzani PF, criteria rekuita councillor chi, hapana. Ngazi tange kumapati kuti unge uri councillor, unofanira wakadai. Kana uri MP unofanira wakadai. Kuti ndipedzise zvimwe zvataurwa just quickly is, you've got the NASA report, which I've been pushing for a long time. And the reason why I'm pushing it, there are big names involved.
Yes.
Okay. And I will not beat about the bush. There are institutions that were given money by NASA. This is pensioners' funds. If you follow where that money went to, it went to my chef, my accounts out. Yeah, in the good work fertilizer. But I now can't go. And this is what hurts me the most. We all know that, but I went to the Auditor General, I sent a message to the Auditor General. When is this report coming through? I wrote to the President. That pure information on. You could not amliswa mkamupa noendes and the Russian noendes and each. The President is my email abakwa. What is the President that got with forensic audit? Is near Irkuramba Kubuda. Nikuti ngai bude forensic audit muone kuti pakajiwa mari pakaita sei, but my pensioners anopiwa $60. Ukumari yawo iri kupinda mune vanhu vari kupfuma. Kune ma banks honorable mbona who are not supposed to have a license. The license is to steal people's money. The posters money vanotora vachivaka dzimba dzavo. Mukaenda unoita audit iye zvozvo kuti mubanki mune mari yako hauiwani. Are you with me? So I just want to close by saying kuti we need to understand the RBZ debt assumption. I want to be honest with you. And then I'm honest. Mkoma. Ndi maitaura nyaya. Nyaya kanaka yaya. Makaunza nyaya kanaka kuti munhu wese ngaite sei? Ngabhadhare zvinhu zvaakatora. Ina handiri kunyepa ndinomwacho akapiwa matractor, akapiwa macombine harvest. Ende takawanda tese tiri ZANU-PF. Aiwa tikachidira jecha shuwa. Tikati tobhadharichi. So takudzoka whipping system yataura neava kuti chero ini ndakati matractor ndinawo ndapiwa ndogobhadharichi. So the majority will always have their way, the minority will have their say. Saka zveshua takatidira jecha kuti aiwa atibhadhare. Masitacho tikati hapana zita remunhu rinobuda. Kasi kana land reform yapo futi miwopindirawo mupiwewo hamurambidzwi.
Can I just give a Thank you. I'm just going to ask Masimba to give his contribution. Masimba.
Yeah, thanks very much. I think Panapapanya Zinenge 3. The first one, Zinenge Satitorira Nguva could the amendments are no safe to the constitution. But what I know is this constitution has already been amended. But I know that there is a Chief Justice Takamanya tikakwanisa kuamenda constitution ya 2013 muna 2017 ndatoita first amendment tikagadzirisa nyaya Chief Justice. 6 years later tiri kuti kune mutemo isati yagadziriswa inokwanisa kushandiswa nevanhu. So there is a problem, and the problem is probably in the political will. And patinoda kugadzirisa tinomhanya togadzirisa. Point number 1. Point number 2,
I don't think we are also taking advantage of current legislation to deal with my issues anobuda from the Auditor General's report. I think from that information, takufana kutombotsvakawo nzira dzekuti titore some of this information tomboenda nayo kumatare edzimhosva timboona kuti hatibudiriri here savanhu kuti totora some of these people through these reports and take them to court, so that we take it out of Parliament's hands and bring it to the courts and see what happens. Because what is happening is that we have a lot of reports, a lot of positive recommendations, but no implementation. So we are now in a NATO situation, no action, talk only. No situation yet. Totaura, but we don't do anything about it. But the last key thing is to say that this is the issues of accountability are key. And although for now we are failing to ensure that there is accountability, I think zvakakosha kuti tirambe tichi-encourage those who are helping in this process. One, the Auditor General, two, the members of Parliament like Ramliswa Panapa, who from time to time bring out issues, selectively of course. As time goes on, in terms of some of these issues. As we are saying now about the RPZ data assumption, I think these are key issues to say, how do we move from there as a nation? Because then there we can then be able to build, each other.
Thank you very much, this is now the ladies' round. I'm going to be taking questions, comments, clarifications, perspectives from the ladies in the room. Can I have a show of hands, please? Very good. Let's run a microphone. Thank you so much. But whilst we're on the subject, I mean, a simple thing that we can do is simply say, if you are a government ministry, yeah? If you are a government ministry and you've been getting $100, but every year, rasa $60, you can simply begin to say, next year, whatever happens, the Minister of Finance, even if he loves you very much, he cannot give you $100. He's going to give you $40. If you look at the example of South Africa, why was Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma so famous? One of the things that she did is that during her time, the Minister of Home Affairs, in a order, ichikwana mu budget ichisungirirwa. Saka chisungwa chekuti aungarapi uchingodya uchingoenda patsime year in year out. It's one of the things. Two, because the abuse is not crazy, because maladministration, courts, a good system, my checks and balances mukati mayo. And here is not about my checks and balances, the women, abude completely anotangira kupi? Kujudiciary but what are the checks and balances inside the public finance management system? It means kuti office kwa minister kana manga mchimbopiwa 2000 liters the fuel gore no makupiwa 800 nekuti makadi amuna kwa account last year zvaifadza AG's office. Are we together? Those are the things that we can begin to think about. Ladies, let's start. Ande. One upper, two upper. One, two.
Okay, thank you very much, Sakile. My comments and contributions pretty much center around Section 56, which is a broader section speaking on issues to do with inclusive issues pertaining to gender. So, but it's a mixture of comments, recommendations, and responses to previous speakers. I very much wanted to allude to the issue of gender budgeting, and maybe to help clarify and seek clarity, as this is usually a term that usually just pops up during the periods of budget consultation processes, which I've always argued to say it is inadequate to begin to talk about gender budgeting at that level, because it has to do with the distribution of resources throughout the year and across all the institutions and systems. So I just want to speak to highlight, rather also to just say, perhaps we should begin to talk about gender, women inclusion, maybe at resource distribution level, to say maybe as command agriculture, as a strategy, how many women benefited? Because like previous speakers really, as politicians, they always like to bring out issues of numbers, and the numbers are huge in terms of the people that benefit. But, well, my argument is, as far as we are not publishing gender desegregated data in terms of the beneficiaries of these resources, we haven't started to consider our women in terms of inclusion. So maybe at the level of resource allocation, how many women have benefited from command agriculture? How many women have benefited from, say, the ZIMASETS policy, so that we carry that information forward in follow-up strategies? Recently we have a disaster that befell us as a state, the cyclone Idai, and the ministry has released funds to go through to actually be given to the survivors, and the government has reached out to the international community for resources to assist the same. And my question is, when we do not have gender desegregated data in terms of how many, amongst the people that are reported to have passed on, how many are women? How many are children? How many are men? Then in terms of addressing the same disaster, we'll still find that we're still leaving out the groups that we very much want to serve in terms of their marginalization. So I'm a proponent of gender desegregated data everywhere in terms of across our reporting system. When the Auditor General is receiving reports from parastatals, from ministries, the reports should clearly highlight, in terms of the resources that were allocated in the previous years, how many women benefited, how many men benefited, so that we carry this forward as we are now reaching out to other women in terms of the budget for the following year. And also our Auditor General, like Barbara rightfully highlights, to say she just was given a task, she was given a mandate, a responsibility, without adequate power, but we expect her to be accountable. So I very much come back to the same point to say we need to give power, we need to give the responsibility, but with power, so that people can be adequately accountable to Parliament and to the citizens. And maybe the last one. Sorry, maybe the last one. So, but it's basically that, to say the debt that the state has adopted. No, we are now taxing everyone from $10 going forward 2%. We haven't really considered the people that were left behind, that really include women. And so we are saying women are paying as much towards that debt. So we deserve to know how many women are benefiting from our strategies. Thank you.
No, that's fine. I mean, a good one is the statutory funds, where women pay, those who are doing cross-border trade, the majority of them are women. They pay funds, the funds go into the anti-trafficking fund. When women are stuck in Kuwait, Maria Indepi.
Mine is a comment. What are equitable distribution of resources? Tikata samuno Zimbabwe mararamira atikuita isusuka. Turaram under bottlenecking system chaicha kuti ino benefita minority vanhu indobva Goromonzo kunobva gold kuna naturals Goromonzo. Road yacho inobva yakatakura goridhe richibva Goromonzo. Mashatira yakaita but inenge yakatakura gold. Avaita beki mumacommunities edu handiti. Todanobva vamora goridhe vouya naro kuno rokuda kunzo isina benefit yatiri kuwana. Nenyaya yekuti tinonzi tive kumaruzevha kumamisha pakunovhota tinonzi madzimai uyai isatidi izvo zvoda kuti zvinhu kana vatora zvinhu mucommunity medu like gold iroro vanofanira kudevelopa nzvimbo iyoyo. 2 padataura panyaya yeconfidence building, ndanzwa honorable muna vataura kuti vanhu vamwe yemumaconsultation chichi inyaya yekuti hatisina confidence nema-MPs edu. Chavanongoda kungozoonekera pakunovhoterwa zvichemo zvedu zvimwe hazvisviki, kuti toda kugadzirwawo zvipatara chichi vanongozooneka kana vatowards ma-elections chete. Saka kuti vapota vachidzoka kwatiri vanhu vakaisa muoffice. 3 panyaya evaluation yemavision avavo ndoga ndakataura nyaya yevision 2020 kuti vanoti vakaita vision yavo yavanoita iyoyo havaita evaluation kuti takaburitsei. For example, vision 2020 haina chayakaburitsa. bhozi tichikura tisaidzwa kunzi kune free education, free health chichi, but yakangodhambwa paside pamasvika maenda kuvision 2030. 2020 acho makambobudisei. Saka tinofanira evaluation pazvinhu zvenyu. Chete zvada contribute.
Right, Maoko, there's a lady in the green shirt. Kana mai vakabata microphone, vandasira microphone. Auntie.
Pamusoro inoda kunyatsotaura neshona. We are really worried nenyaya yeland. Toda kunyatsozivawo kuti madzimai akawana land zvakanyatsa kumira sei. Iye zvinezvi land kubva payakatanga kutorwa. Grabbing yakaramba iri ongoing. Pakutaurwa nyaya yecompensation, yekukompensata. Asi grabbing iri still going on. Tiri kunyatsotarisa tichinyatsonzwisisa here kuti zviri kuenda nekupi. Ini ndachida kunzwa panyaya yeway forward. Inyaya dzemari kaidzi. Pane nyaya yemari ndopanotangira nyaya yese. Kana ukanzwa unzi mumba mune bongozozo, inyaya yemari. Mari dzacho dziri kumbonyatsofamba sei? There is a lot of corruption going on. Hapana transparency iri kuitika panyaya yemari. Ende tikadzokera back to command agriculture ingeri kutaurwa. Iwo wakamirira kupuwa 2 bags. Panouya rori rotora 10, 15, ma 30 ton truck achienda nemunhu wani. At the end of the day, tiri kutaura food security yenyika. Toenda kuGMV, munhu akatora ma 30 ton truck kana kuti 20, ari kuendesa 130 ton truck. Ko mamwe ma 30 ton truck yefertilizer yakaenda kopi? Since we are targeting kuti munhu akatora fertilizer anofanira kuendesa 5 tons kuGMV. Ini ndotora 30 times 20 ton truck ndoendesa 30 tons. Chii chiri kumboitika? Corruption iyoyo. Saka toda kuziva kuti what is behind that? Paita kakunokora plus paita baba kana ndivana wakuru vari kuba. Kana vari kuba kudaro, mwana angataure here kuti mai wangu imbavha kana kuti baba wangu imbavha. Ngapagadziriswe panhu ipapa. Nekuti ini ndotora imwe mbavha ndoisa padhuze neni. Kana ndaisa padhuze neni inoziva kuti ndine mukuru. Panorohwa yakaipa ipapa. Saka ngatinyatsotarisai. Pane reserve yambotaurwa. Pakatorwa matractor. Zvataurwa nashumba wangu ari papapa. Pakatorwa matractor, pakatorwa magejo, mangoro, chichichi. Zvinhu izvozvo zvichinzi zviri kubhadharwa. Zvakazobhadharwa here. Nekuda kwokuti ava vakadira jecha vakatora zvihombe. Havagoni kuruzevha kwakapuwa kanepseki kakasofa kare kare kasina kushanda. Saka toda kuti ipapa apa panyaya yecorruption nezvese, panyaya yemari ndo ine nyaya dzese idzi. Dai pasina mari ikai apaita ngazviitwe zvinhu zvifambe zvakanaka.
I think it's a fair point that the Public Finance Act must have sections that speak to sector responsive issues. You know, we've got major issues. There's the mining sector which does its own framework, but there are also issues around, for example, agriculture. So if you were to talk about, you know, your agroeconomists, they will be talking about this, the tightening of these rules a lot more differently than the way we're talking about it. But we spend a phenomenal amount of money. Zimbabwe, agriculture is state-driven and state-funded. And when we talk about this act, to what extent is it responding to some of the very unique things that come out in terms of the agricultural sector? So we really need to think about making it sector responsive. We have a contribution over there, and then the lady in the brown, in that order.
Okay, thank you very much. Mine is a very quick suggestion and a recommendation, taking from the last lady who talked about corruption, because that's what I want to talk about. My suggestion is, when we're tackling this issue on corruption, can we change our strategy? Instead of focusing on the national to say corruption and so forth, it is something that we have to inculcate into our own children, into our own families. Zvitangire family, zvichienda kusell, from the cell to the ward, from the ward to the district, from the district to the province. Tichiratidzana kuti corruption is bad. Vari corrupt vachona vachitaurira kuti uyu ningi naningi akaba pakati nepakati. If it starts from the bottom, from the grassroots levels, I am sure even ku national kwachona ikoko kunobva kwatosheka, because it is now something that is being seen, kuti the masses are saying no to corruption. So we shouldn't wait for certain individuals at national or provisional or whatever level it is, let us begin in our own families, in our own cell groups, in our own wards, to say kuti corruption is squid. Another problem here corruption is because people fear for their lives. Like what she has just said, kuti aungaudzi baba varukuba kuti baba murukuba unorowa ukafa. Can we not have structures being put in place to protect people? Witness protection, chayo, you know, Shanda Kunana America and so forth. We can have somewhere where people come with information that they're saying, this is sensitive information. I want to protect my family. I want to protect myself because Ndudako exposed or something. Can we not have something being put in place so that at least this issue of corruption can then be tackled in a strategy, instead of just saying, let's fight corruption? How? People are afraid for our lives. Corruption. How am I going to be protected after I've given these suggestions? I think, yeah.
I think she raised a very good point, and I think I can say with confidence that the current suggestion in the Public Finance Management Act are in a recommendation around whistleblower protection. So you find
we use microphone all the time for broadcasting.
Apologies.
Thank you.
I'm just saying it's a powerful contribution. Yeah, in terms of how do we strengthen the accountability. But the current proposals are quite recommendation yekuti ngatiite inonzi whistleblower protection. Ndikaenda ndikanotaura nyaya ndikaitaura yese ndikaidudurira yese nekuona kwamunoona handifangi kuti because iye zvino ukaenda kunochema nyaya iwewe wacho ndiwo uri kusungwa because ende maita zvakanaka mauya so that's one of the things that makes it difficult kuti vanhu vachidi ndinobva kuti it basically says crime pays ndinondobva ndatopindiwo muchirongwa chekuba pana mai vandanga ndasiya ndoda kuregerero ndinoziva queue yandanga ndapinza but I forgot her, so I just want to correct
Azvita inini ndanyanya kufarira zvataurwa naMr. zvekuChina nekuKenya. If that issue is brought here in Zimbabwe, sokona kwangu ini kumusoro kwawo akunosara kusina kana ariko vese vanodona isusu chokwadi taura zvenyu isusu nditotokwira totomuka taveko nekuti kumusoro kwako hakuna kutomira zvakanaka iye zvechitarisai muone kumusoro kuntoda cyclone china kuti ite kutsvaira kugosara kusina chinhu kotanga afresh kana mwari vativanira nyasha vanenge vasara varipo nekuti iye zvechitarisai muone nenyaya yecyclone idai yakaitika people were affected, people were homeless. Vanhu vakasara vasina dzimhuri, vakasara vasina kana pekutangira. Zvinhu izvozvo zvakadhonetwa zvakabva kwatiri isusu vanhu. Kwete kuti ivo ndivo vakazvidhoneta. Asi nhasiwo zvinhu izvozvo izvo vari kuzviba. Zvirwadza sei? Kuti uyo ari kuchema haana chainacho, asi ari kupirwa futi. Zvinhu zvaanenge akupiwa. Zvakabvaruka. Ndizvo vari kupiwa. Hanzi wakafabekwa kunongwa madhenda yakazara musango. Nekuti kwanga chidi chakabvaruka. Asi matwini wari manyowani ari kuoneka ari mabhasi. Mwari ngatibatsire mufunge. Chechipiri takanzi towards the upper middle class by 2030 neumbavha uri kuitwawo zuva rakacheka nyika vedu weka chokwadi hapena kwatiri kuenda hakuna zvakadaro Mwari vachiitire zvakanaka.
Nyaya the lack of accountability tadzoka panapa, then it's one more then tandavhara session iyo ndizvoka
pamusoro iyi ini ndinoda kubvunza kuti nhai varume tiri kubva kupi ende tiri kuenda kupi ende tiri kusvika here kwatiri kuenda kwacho. Pane nyaya yambotaurwa nemumwe mutauri yekuti takaema kuti 2020 tinge taasamwe takata papi 2020 yacho hapana. Ezvinezvi tiri kuti 2030 tinge takuti munhu wese anofamba nemotikari ane upenyu hwakanaka. Izvo zvinhu zvakadai zvinoita here varume? Tinosvika rini tichigara muno tichipiwa sadza tichipiwa chikafu chakanaka tichiuya tichiningirika? What's the way forward? Tozviita sei? Asi tinobva tatyika tikati tikada kuita way forward inonzi women's bank. Isi tiri kumasunguriro kumagrassroots takada kuti tinotatarikawo zvimwe tingabude kuwomen's bank. Zvinotaurwa zvacho zvausingafe wakambogona unogara kumba wodziya moto wotoitawo zvako zvekuti aiwa chirega ini kuita zvekurima tumadomasi nekudaro. Ngatiti kana tati toda kubatsira vanhu ngativabatsirei.
ndakazokumbirawo inini MP wangu kuti kuri kudiwa motikari iri kuonekwa panze pedhoo apa zvimweni motikari handisati ndaanayo zvakadii mwanangu kuti iwe une motikari dzakawanda unotitorera mari uye tione kutenga shinda dzekuruka nezvuma zvekutunga tigonotengesa kuti tibudirirewo kuitira kuti chamangwana tigokubhotera zvakare tine zvinhu varume ngatiregei kuramba tichiita zvinhu zvinoperera pamurumo sebodi. What's the way forward? Saka ndavhara raundi yangu ladies round ndaivhara takuda kuitawo maraundi anenge atikamidzana tichibalanzana handiti right. So there was a contribution vanga vatsva zvokuti vakadzikama vanyora nebhilo regai ndivapei vagovhenereta point yavo nemuromo because vanga vatombotaura nebhilo. Then I will take maoko anga sakasimuka ndikuya kuno imi muchapinda pamhinduro because zvauya kwamuri zvakati o saka I'm hoping kuti muri kuprepare zvawandisa rongekai muri ikoko. Minister of Finance vakati zii ndiri kuuya ikoko. Sera ndiri kukuona iwo kuti ndinoda kuuyawo ikoko. Zvisinei ndakutora maoko ndanzowambotaura chimbomira ndokudzokera because mani saka ndiri kudaiso ndiri kuti one panapa ndobva ndati chair handiti ndobva ndati chair ndobva ndati mukoma ndobva ndati tichidai ndizvoka handi takadaro.
Regai ndisumuke. Ndanga ndati pamareforms vekubudget office kupali uko ndandati zvakadini ndane makore mashanu ndichimbotevera komiti iyoyi ichitaura problem imwe chete yokuti maministry haasiri up to date nemaaccounts avo. Previous parliamentary portfolio committee yaivapo vakanatsotsanangura zvikanzi vamwe vatori nemakore. Ini ndandiri kuti budget office vachiore ndandiri kuti zvadini kuti pamaproposal enyu nemilecturer pamunoita maresearch titi ministry kana isati yakwanisa kuti gore richipera iti veduwe mari dzamakatipa takadzifambisa so audit office yoaprova kuti ndizvo mafambiro akaita mari kana pane deficit haisi mhosva iyi then ndiyo condition yokuti gore rinotevera ipiwe rimwe vote rebudget regore iroro. Nemhaka kuti zvikasadaro kuprivate sector kune profit and loss account uko azviite kuti CEO agopinda mune rimwe gore asati audza mashareholder kuti mari dzakafamba sei basa rinopera. Saka iyi mari yedu takuchitangawo kutaura isu varidzi vemari mashareholder enyika takuda kuti minister asati agona kumaneja mari iproposal iyoyo ngaasapuwa mari agonesana nestaff yake.
Yes.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Sitole and I'm a journalist by profession with ZFM and a disability rights activist by calling. So I just want to get into my calling right now and talk about disability activism. Honorable Mona, you were saying kuti you have had my public hearings where you struggled to get at least 50 people to attend. But my question is, how accessible were the hearings for persons with disabilities? Did you also, have you as Parliament also considered kuti there is close to 300,000 people who cannot hear, who also need to attend these hearings? Sign language interpreters, so that those people can be in attendance. What are you doing to make sure kuti when these bills are being gazetted, when they get to the public, everyone can access them? There is reasonable accommodation. I also want to speak about persons with visual impairment. What has been done to ensure that these bills is available in audio format, so that this person can be able to listen and contribute meaningfully? Because it's pointless for persons with disabilities to attend my hearings where they don't know about the bills that they're going to be contributing towards. We've got about 39,000 persons with albinism in Zimbabwe. What is being done to ensure that my venues and my public hearings can also accommodate them? We've got on wheelchairs. Are the venues accessible? So there is need, before we start saying good my hearings, for us to be able to consider whether the venues, whether the material to be used is accessible to the same people that we want to contribute towards the bills. Thank you.
A very powerful contribution. I think it talks to how accessible and how representative is Parliament. If we can attend on a voting and how representative is parliament in the administration of it. So it's not just about languages. It's about how inclusive can it be in terms of togadzirisa nyaya yemalanguage, togadzirisa nyaya yeaudio access, togadzirisa nyaya yekuti zewe zvinhu izvi kuti hurumende yacho inobatika here, hausi tombogona kuibatika. Chair, mubvunzo wawenyu.
All right, thank you. So my issues andinofunga kuti angafangwa kunge achipinda pareform yePublic Financial Management Act. Number 1 yekutanga. Pambobuda nyaya yekuti kana pachita procurement, macosts acho anotyisa kana ukada kumakompea nezvinowanikwa muzvitoro. Inyaya yekuti hatina beneficial ownership disclosure. So all public procurements, macontracts ese zvatengwa kuti mota iselfoni chii. We don't want to hear the name like Fazal Technologies or what. We want to know who is the beneficial owner, the natural person who is benefiting from government contracts. Because not roads in it's good to go on Britman and other companies, but we want to see I think that's important. Then the second issue, Constitution to Section 13, subsection 4, the state must put in place mechanisms to ensure communities benefit from resources in their localities. So as you know, the reform of Public Financial Management Act. Are there fiscal linkages? Are mining for mineral revenues in our communities where that mining is taking place? So the Constitution, the Public Financial Management Act should be very clear on that, right? Of course, they just look at it from for instance, Ukatora, the fund like the Rural Electrification Fund, by virtue of being significant consumers of electricity or power, mining companies are significant contributors to that fund. But are there any linkages? Ukadakutarisa 1 million consume one is implants, and then what is being plowed back in those communities? Then the two things to wrap up. There is a provision very clear that when we talk about accountability, the scope of the Auditor General expanded beyond not only state-owned but state-controlled entities. I know previously, also data on Bada, Anjin and others. So I don't need the only window I take was one information was through the MTC. But now, I think this the Public Financial Management Act should be aligned with that. Then lastly, I note no chamber knows normally we rely on the Auditor General's reports that come yearly, annually. Or could to understand why is it MDCs my reports are not up to date or minister of this minister and so forth. But Ukatarisa role here Public Financial Management, my MPs, my portfolio committee, I think these issues should come well before the Auditor General in terms of pressure. Could it understand, they could say, Mama, because they can only deal with submitted accounts. But even if the 4 accounts are submitted, I think they can pass through Parliament just to find out that do you have unaudited financial statements? Yeah.
Thank you. Can we go back to our queue?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My contribution yekutanga yacho on the access to information. I know kutizoni pane provisions are with regards to audited accounts, Emma public institution, but how are they accessible to the general citizen in terms of creating pressure yegozo demanda final accountability? And then on that as well, how are our members of parliament and civil society organizations as well extending the information flows to our constituencies that tukushanda now, because ipapo ndopane the missing link in terms of creating movement building as well. And we also need to interrogate civil society organizations the way we are working. My dialogue are they effective? Or do we need to have my demonstrations? It's allowed according to the constitution. How can we reach out to more people? How can we build consensus around issues and begin to move as a movement? And then another issue I think which we may also need to interrogate beyond this, beyond the Public Finance Management Act is the institutional arrangement on its own. We have so many institutions. I can give you an example. We have local authorities. We have ZINWA. We have EMA. We have my catchment management committees. My institutions, in terms of their arrangement and collecting of revenue, they are creating chaos in terms of creating revenue, in terms of generating revenue. No panotangira leakages ipapo. So my question is, creation of all those institutions, is it because we want to create a status quo, a corruption, and someone is benefiting from it? Because there is no need yekuti tive ema yet it can be under a local authority. Tive zinwa yet a local authority can do that. Definitely there is no logic behind such institutional arrangements. So we also need to have an interrogation of our national institutional arrangement to see where the leakages are and where can we close Mangma leakages as well.
Thank you for raising that point. That's a very powerful point that we tend to underestimate issues around integrated development, because then you can't tell how much did the road cost. Right now there are roads that were resurfaced last year and asasata pendwa. For you to be able to say who did what when, it becomes very difficult, you know. So that's a fair point that no one had raised. Can we go to, thank you.
Noted. Ine pandikuda contribution yangu ndikuda kungoti nditende nema amendments ari kupropose mayai ese ndikuona sekunganotibatsira, but ndikuda kuti nditi kana mambonzo pamambotivhunza kuti zvatiri kutarisira ndichitaura kuti tinoita dambudziko rokuti pfungwa tinenge tiinadzo chaizvo zvokuda kubatsirana kuti zvinhu zvedu zviende, but hazizobuda nemafungira atenge tichiita. Zimbabwe ine chipo chokugadzira mablueprint akanaka chaizvo. Akambouya inzi isa kukauya Zima asset yezvinoti tine TSP dzese idzodzo ukada kunyatsodziverenga uchiita indite unodziona kuti dzakanaka, but pane nyaya yangu ndepezinara. Before zinara iyoyo isati yavepo hatiziva kuti mari idzodzo dzaimboenda kupi, but iye zvine tiri kuona nzvimbo dzese kana takuenda mumamisha medu umu tinoona tine matogeti atiri kusangana nawo. Iye zvino paripo pamboratidzwa imwe clip yaratidza mapotholes akazara. Mari iyoyo yezinara iri kutorwa yoendeswawo kumwe kwairi kunonosenza kwatisiri kugutsikana. Ine ndakamirira local authority. Isisu tisu tine motikari dziri kudhamenja marodzi dzakatowanda, but muzinara yachona kana yakutipa tumari yotipa mbichana yotengera magredha maRDC. Handisi kuti ngaaregedze kutengerwa, but ndiri kuti ngavatarise nepopulation yevanhu kuti ikoko kune mota dzakawanda zvakadii. Ndosa muri kuona sekunge malocal authorities ari kukundikana, ende mari idzodzo dziri kutorwa pamatogets. Dai kuri kokuti togeti yakanangana netaundi yayakanangana nayo ndokuri kuenda mari yacho maiona malocal authorities achidevelop. Saka ndiri kuti zvese contribution yaitwa nevamwe vangu vanga vachitaura ine ndiri kutenderana nazvo, but ndaida kuedza kuti ndisataure zvakanaka nezvataurwa kare, because ipapo ndo patine challenge yekuti tiri kutaura muno zvoperera mukutaura, kana kwazvinoenda hatizomboziva kuti zvakaitwa sei, because Zimcode, it's not my first time kunge tiinemi, takambosangana nemi pamakambouyawo kuNorton, and ndiri kufarira kuti ma-MPs atinawo muno vari kutaura kuti vanhu havauye, and my brother there azotaura kuti pamunembenge matiti tiuye pari accessible here, nokuti mumwe munhu anenge achibva chinhambwe anotadza kusvika ipapo, and kunyange akasvika ipapo pamwe anosvika meeting yatopera, and maresults achona achizoshayika. Saizvozvo zvandiri kutaura kuti maresults haazoonekwa, ma-meaningful results ekuti taita achieve chii nezvatakurukura. Maita zvenyu.
I think for me, what's important when we're looking at public finance and how accountability works is how much do we know about government expenditure. So I think the greatest problem is that government does not want us to know how they're spending the money. Because if they did, they would actually engage us deliberately. That's not happening. It's almost like a rubber stamping process. And I think we really need to be serious in terms of focusing so that we can hold government accountable. And then the other thing is also how much do people as citizens care about how government is using the money? I think Zimbabwe is a very difficult context. Munhu ari kumhanyisa kuti ndokwanisa kuwana kachingwe here kanhasi chete. Saka kana ka-information kasina kuuya ka, it's really difficult for people to actually get up and begin to engage government or my leaders to make sure that they know something. And then lastly for me is civil society. I think Zimco does a very good job in terms of date manager. But I think what's critical is how do we link nyaya idzodzi dzekuti hurumende kushandisa mari sei nekuti, okay, let me say that again. How can we link issues to do with government expenditure to my everyday life? Unless that happens, there's no urgency. Nechingoiona kunge nyaya iri kumusoro uko kwandiri ainyanyo relate. Asi ukandiudza kuti iwewe ka ukutotadza kutenga chingwa nekuda kwokuti hurumende yaita 1 2 3 ndinoita hasha dzokuda kutoibata hurumende yacho iyoyo one by one kunoti they are being accountable. So I think we need to do more conversation in our public finance, but it's really placed up there and out there, and it's really disconnected from our lives. In this mudzimai so saying kuitoti nditohasha dzine zimkoti kuti kana kwautaura chikwereti ndinotetohasha kuti aiwa chikwereti chika ndotoda kunziso chafamba sei. And right now I feel like it's not there. So what is it we can do to make sure kuti azvisingori mhepo iri kubhuruka neuko, but it's really something that I can relate to, especially as a woman. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much Grace. Nehasha dzaunadzo idzodzo kuti hurumende inobatika sei. Aiwa hurumende yedu iripo panapa, tine vatakavhotera uyezve tine vatakavhotera at parliament level, tine vamwe vatakavhotera at local government level, tine vamwewo vatisina kuvhotera but vari mumapublic elected jobs vanorepresenta, tine maministries ari pano, tine mastate enterprises ari panapa. Saka what I would do is that vambotora mibvunzo kana kuti macomment kuda pachidimbu ndovapawo vasungwa nebasa iri vakamirira hurumende in all of its colors, elected and non-elected posts. I will be now moving the mic so that you are also given an opportunity to put your perspectives. If it is a perspective that is personal, you can just say it is personal. If you are free to explain what your institution is doing, you are also welcome. I will start with the budget office because
but let me start with the explaining the process in network parliament for lawmaking. Without Munzu, said that process so that Munzu kuita input. Bill constitution provides for my bills are not executive and also private members bill, but we have not had any private members bill except in the bill rakazo foira rangarasa just kwa na honorable Innocent Konesi rakazo fira samoya. Saka kana rabva ku executive noenda ku cabinet committee on legislation. Zvino draft kwa amene zvino draft kwa zvoenda ku cabinet committee on legislation zvadaro zvaapprove okay executive zvozo ya ku parliament. Saka ndoda kutangira pa rino ya ku parliament. Rinoenda inonzi first reading. First reading, then what minister introduces a bill. He reads a long title of the bill. This bill seeks to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From that process, the bill stands referred to the relevant portfolio committee. Right up portfolio committee, no consultations in line with section 141. Fight for consultations, fight for everything, poema suggestions, because that I know second reading where they go through every section of bill, which pass up, yes we agree, yes we agree, yes we agree. Zvadaro rozenda ku third reading bill rapasa robva raenda ku senate rozenda kwa president. Saka why takaita proactive apa ndezvekuti bill rinofanira kunodraftiwa rotoyara nemaprinciples atiri kuda kuona aripo rongozoyaka 1 ku parliament. If we had waited kuti bill ritangira uya ku parliament maiona zvaidrega the process because maizotanga kuita masuggestions rodzorwa futi kumadrafters radzokera kumadrafters rozodzoka because we need this bill as soon as yesterday. So pamunobvunzwa pama-public consultations paya, it's advisable you go there, you make your inputs. Maita ma-inputs enyu, the portfolio committee will take on board my contributions enyu. Zvaitwa on board, then informa whatever will come out from that process. Then parliamentary recommendations our recommendations are not being taken on board. If you check some of the recommendations like a budget, so Zamaka suggested 3 years ago is not going to implement this year. So it's only lack of information. But like what Honorable Mona said, this year you made 117 suggestions. About 50, it's 54% of your suggestions that are pinned budget. So tika treka.
zvimwe zvacho hazvina because zvine explanation kuti minister before budget anouya kuparliament oexplaina kuti pamarecommendations aya akabva kuvanhu iyi ndiri kutora iyi handisi because of saka honorable mona uri kuziva kuti why minister asina kutora that recommendation. Saka it's only an issue yokuti we need to communicate zvavataura gore rino tichange tichidzoka kwamuri tichicommunicata. We have captured masuggestions evanhu and zvino report iri kuuya inenge itotaura kuti ningi wokwachiendambo yaakati zvakati so that you feel appreciated kuti zvinhu zvenyu zviri kupinda. Then pana reza issue yeAbuja declaration. My suggestion would be because mukaedha Abuja 15%, moedha Maputo state 12, moedha Dhaka 10, maona taapa percentage ipi? Taapa percentage yomosedha masalaries taaku 120% ye government revenue. So my suggestion would be let's concentrate more for now because of issues around inadequate revenues. Let's concentrate on per capita health allocation. Because talking of pemberera 15% Abuja ichienda kuma salaries. Saka kuti tinzvenge nyaya yemasalaries, push for per capita health allocation. Mukaita formula yeyo kuti per capita health allocation should be $35 per person. Push for that. Otherwise minister anogona kungokomplaya neAbuja but akomplaya ari masalaries. If you check agriculture yazvino iri komplaya neMaputo. If you check education iri komplaya. But kukomplaya kwacho is more of money going towards salaries. So we cannot celebrate with you complying with Maputo declaration. So let's push for per capita health allocation. Because Abuja nemamirira zvakaita mari inongena kumasalaries. Vanongomeka sure 15% yaenda kumasalaries yemadoctor nemanurse, then you celebrate with Abuja. So let's push for per capita. Then if you check Kenya, PFM Kenya, inoti health budget should be program based starting 2013 in central government and 2014 in county governments. It PFM 2014. Health budget should be subjected to public scrutiny. So that is the requirement in PFM. Let's push for that. The health budget is not a passport. Not a kusika kunoperera nyika. Murukufara rene zviri health budget. Because zviri PFM. So in order to put the health, the government should publicize all budget documents. That's a requirement in Kenya. Mono Zimbabwe inogeswa pa website. That's not publicizing. Because vamwacho mukaenda mchida macopies kufinance vanoprinta macopies mashoma. So people don't really know kuti budget mune. Speaking of that, mukaenda pa parliament website mchaona pane citizen budget iripo. Zvima pictures zvino simplify a budget in simple terms. Kuti chii chinonzi budget. Otherwise mamungatozivi gore rino our deficit is 6.6 billion. Mamungazive mukandoverenga dokiro mendoro mchazvoona. Then let's also push for issues like gender budgeting, child-friendly budgeting, rights-based budgeting, pro-poor budgeting. Zvipinde mu-PFMA. Ku Canada zvirimo, it's well articulated mu-PFMA yavo in Canada. So budget richouya rinotanga scrutinize. Is it pro-poor? Yes, rapasa. Is it gender-sensitive? Yes, rapasa. Is it rights-based sensitive? Rapasa. Kana sina zvoro ngaridzokere ngarindogadzirwa futi. Because it's stipulated within their PFMA. Then another issue yabuda was on nyaya yema-interpreters. For now, Parliament has tried, but haisati yanyatsosvika. Panoitwa ma-public hearings, pane vanhu vePR vanenge varipo. For example, ma-public hearing apedza kuitwa pane mudhara anonzi Magwaya Godzengere waiva paredio kudhara waya. He speaks about 4 or 5 languages. And he also has basics of sign language interpretation. Pane basics. Saka PR yedu yakatrainwa basics of sign language interpretation. We are trying, but we are not yet there. Saka yes, you know, mama languages we cannot interpret, but basics, the Shona and whatever, the basics the sign language not deep, they can interpret. But however, I think it's an issue as civil society we need to push for the parliament respect the constitution nyayema languages as then pane issue ya raised yema issues zakawanda nzaro collector. I think let's attack that through the ease of doing business reforms. Because ease of doing business reforms, let Zimura be the one in collect the revenue. Yes, you also panana back end, kuti yenasa yenda kunasa you end up rather than everyone wants to collect. If everyone wants to collect in a percentage, then there's room for corruption. Then Yayama citizens should be informed. How do we keep ourselves informed? Connection on the government gazette. And I encourage citizens to take up government gazette. I think read $1. Saka mo government gazette ndo munotaurwa information na Minister of Finance. Saka inoti pass up because that is just government gazette. but act inoti minister unofanira kungopublisha in a government gazette. Isusu as parliament we try to yabuda government gazette, we publicize it. For example, minister anofanira kuti within 60 days at the end of the financial year or publish government gazette mashandisira akaita mari. Saka so far isati yauya. So there is need for citizens to push parliament to push over to how far makanyasa mari zvipi. Within that breakdown, maybe to breakdown, takaona mari yakati tikashandisa zvakati, deficit yanga iri yakati takakwereta kwakati. Saka citizens, if you are satisfied, what yet you are said, kana musina, you petition even parliament, we feel to minister anoshandisa mari zviri right. This is our petition, which petition out ko report yakupi ko. For example, I'll give you an example. Section 307 provides for condonation, expenditure, but we have not seen a condonation bill in Parliament for the past 3-4 years. And citizens, Parliament no pass a budget, 8 billion. Government negotiations are 15 billion. They don't come to Parliament for condonation. But Takanyarara, Pana action Irutorwa, Speaker of Parliament this year wrote to Minister of Parliament expressing his displeasure, which are not abiding by constitutional provisions. So as citizens, let's keep ourselves informed. No government gazette, no current affairs, no demand even some of the things, even petitions. Could through out my uses of money are published on website, the Minister of Finance, website, the Parliament, the government gazette, which petition because you have the right to petition Parliament. Because once you petition Parliament is forced to take action. For example, Yanga petition insurance. Parliament was forced to take action and to report. But Parliament is not going to relax off it. But once you petition, Parliament now is obliged to respond to that petition. So if you are informed, then you can petition Parliament, then you know what's happening. I think for now, those are the issues that I can respond
to. Is there any other government representative who wants to respond to anything? Okay, we'll start.
One government. Okay, I thought you wanted the ministry and okay. Thank you very much. I think Pepka has touched on a number of issues, but maybe to just buttress one issue here, monitoring at our Tete. We have got Vision 2020 and now we've got Vision 2030. And it's also a cause for concern on our party as Parliament to say the issue of monitoring and evaluation as a country. The party. So a committee in economic development. And like what you rightfully said, we need to monitor even some of the projects that are being undertaken by the government. So at the end of the day, it's under our purview to follow up on the on the monitoring and evaluation. And I'm happy to say recently in March there was a conference in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, on the African evaluation, monitoring and evaluation. It was seized, NEMA issues, as parliamentarians, we are not doing our oversight role when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. So I'm sure in the near future we'll see that emanating from the Parliament of Zimbabwe to follow up on projects. So that whenever we've got a project, we need to see how much was channeled towards that project and it papi. And unfortunately, Chairman Wabuda Mkasi, he touched on Section 13, subsection 4, which talks about the right of the citizens to benefit from the resources within their confines. So at the end of the day, pamshtauranye gold kuti ikodzero yedu isusu sevanhu veZimbabwe kuti munenge muchibva zvicherwa zvedu tinge tiine benefits atinowana. And my brother from ZFM, you touched about accessibility. And let me just share with you that we isusu committee, we're also doing our public hearings and we're in Bindura. And amongst us with Honorable Senator who is disabled. And takatadza kutoita hearing now because we're doing it in first floor. But the structures could not facilitate. So it's very correct. Takatadza hearing wakamira pasi. So at the end of the day, we know that some of the buildings, we are also mandated in the constitution kuti ngatiite structures are not promote accessibility in terms of people, persons with disabilities. So you are very right, kuti is under the prerogative of government kuti tive nema structures edu anooneka kuti vanhu vese vasingakwanisi kunge vachisvika ikoko vasvika. In section 22 is very clear on such privileges dzinofanira kuenjoywa nepersons with disabilities. Saka tikuti at the end of the day it's still up to us isusu as citizens to push for these things. And sezvazviri kutaurwa the power ratinaro pasection 149 tinogona kusarinzwisisa but tinaro hapana chatinotadza kuchinja citizens. Saka some of these issues ngatichibva from a talk show tichi-implement as citizens, because marights edu ema-citizens munozongopedzera moti ma-politicians, but imimi say we are also citizens, but what are you doing as well? Because ma-politicians kana wasiwa nemukana wainawo, how then do you want to crucify yourself? Ivo ma-citizens acho kana vari reluctant to push for the laws that they have. Thank you very much.
Indingada kukomenta pa issue ya raiswa na Mr. Chwari. Mr. Chwari, taona kuti mamtaura nenyaya ye-internal audit, nchiti it's better for them to report to the accountant general. And also Madam Barbara mamtaura the powers dzinofana kunge dzina auditor general. But pa act redo handina kunzwa pamataura about the powers and appointment of the accountant general. Kuti isusu izvozvi tiri kutaura kuti ma-internal auditors ari kuripota kuna accounting officer. At the same time, the accountant general is also reporting to an accounting officer. Saka ipapo akazenge apiwa kana kuti patiri kunogadzirisa iziri section 48 or 14 yekuti yakaichinzi unoshanda ungapuwa instruction unoita and then you write 40. Saka ipapo tiri kuti kana iye akanyorerwa anoita sei, anosenzesa simba ripi. And then also pane issue yanga ichitaurwa ye-audit supremacy. I think in South Africa vanoti audit supreme institution. Yekuti the audit office is equivalent to a court of law. Yekuti inogona kuita, I don't know Shumba, na honorable, kuti muZimbabwe tasvika ipapo here kana kuti. And also the appointment ya auditor general, can it be done ne a council? Like yamamuri kutaura kuti tukuti ari ku-appointwa na president in consultation with the parliament. Koikaitwa ne a council. And then also tachitaura issue ye citizen budget. But hatina kumbotaura about the citizen reports. I'm happy honorable vataura issue yokuti pavari kuzodzokera zvino vachanotaura kuti mari yakashanda sei. PFM inotitaurira kuti maparastatals or ma-state controlled vanofanira kunge vachipresenta ma-management accounts, be monthly, quarterly or half yearly. I don't know as it is right now kuti zviri kuitika here izvozvo. Kana vachinge vazviita zvinoenda kuparliament here kana kuti zvinozongomirira kuti pachapera gore minister will lay the report, kana kuti tichamirira Madam Chiri kuti vachazopa report yekuti budget renyera maka-approve riya vanhu vakazoshandisa mari zvakadai. Ko iye akaishandisa wacho ani paari kumboudza vanhu here kuti ndakaishandisa sei.
There's funny issue yekuti pakungo implementwa some of the things zvikungomuka zvakangochenja yet zvinenge zvisina kuitwa go through kuonekwa kunzi zvichanyatsoshanda sei. I understand that when you introduce something you have to test it before musati mazvitaura, but musangana nema-problems ekuti zvinhu zvakawanda zvirongochinjwa pasati panyatsoonekwa kunzi saka zvichafamba sei, zvichaita sei, like PFM system zvinhu zviri kuti affecta izvozvo.
And engagement as well, so it's about intergovernmental conversations around nyaya idzodzo. Council.
Thank you. I would service delivery is a problem as a councillor on the ground. I see residents associations being around. They expect a lot of good performance from us, but here we come. We did a budget as Gormos Bureau this council in December. It went to the minister for approval. Just last week, that's when we received news that it's been approved. Budget is 4 times the inflation has taken over everything. It's been approved, and we can't do anything with that money. And as a councillor, I've been given a grader to do the roads in my ward. I was begging for fuel from stakeholders around, and the machine got broke. Up now, it's there, seated. So we are now waiting again to redo the budget. I'm not sure what we're going to do, for us again to go to the minister back for another approval, and the year is ending without doing anything on the ground. So these are the things that we face as councillors, as local authorities, while we're expected to perform on the ground. Bureaucracy and whatever. Let devolution come as soon as possible if it's useful, but at the moment, this is where we are. We can't do anything. You come in politics, you become a councillor with enthusiasm to work and feel like I can do better than this person. You get in the office, I tell you, there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to really, there are no tools to work. If then civil society can come closer, assist us to push for these bureaucracy and problems to be outlined and made solution for us to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a very powerful point. We're talking about public finance management, but you get the money, 4 or 5 times later on. What about disbursements? I mean, we're talking about an approval for a budget, but we also hear a lot of...
No.
I am just raising the point to say it connects with multiple issues.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me this time. From the ministry's perspective, this is a very useful discussion. For today, we are here just to observe in solidarity with the Zim Court, which is a key institution, especially in terms of debt management. But maybe one comment is on the Public Finance Management Act. I think we cannot analyze it in isolation with the Public Debt Management Act. Was these two work hand in hand, and anything that is from the Public Finance Management Act, revenues and expenditures, will go to the Public Debt Management Act for borrowing. So we have to analyze these two acts in conjunction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. John, you want to add something? You're not government, you've not been voted for, you've been appointed, but I think we'll let you add something.
All right, thank you so much. I'm coming from a youth sector. We work with young people. So I think this workshop, it's really a call for organizations who are working with young people as we are moving on to strengthen the Public Finance Management Act and realigning it to the Constitution. I think we need to get more young people to be involved, and also as civil society, maybe we need to repackage the information to be youth-friendly so that they can understand the issues, and also to make sure that young people, they participate in budget consultation so that when the act is re-strengthened, we make sure that there are resource allocation to youth issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to... Mr. Nancy, did you also have from the AG's office? Can I do Mr. Nancy first or and then come to there's a microphone behind you.
Thank you very much, Saki.
Oh, there's someone who wants to ask you. Oh, it's okay, I'll manage. Go ahead, Mr. Nancy.
Okay. I really appreciate very much the discussion, the discourse here, because it adds value to our work as a function, as an audit function. I thought at this juncture, let me spell out what we are, what we stand for as an institution of government. For some of you who might not know, the Auditor General is the supreme audit institution of the country. In terms of the Constitution, Section 309, which spells out the mandate. Ndoinotaura mandate ya Auditor General kuti anenge achiti. It says there must be an Auditor General whose office is a public office and it does not form part of the civil service. Kare, before 2010, Tangatichi audit office yanga under the Public Service Commission. So there was a lot of compromise in its function. But later on we came up with an act of Parliament, which is the Audit Office Act from 2010. Now this spells out, the function of the Auditor General. I would like to quickly state that the system in Zimbabwe here is the Auditor General system. But in other countries, there is the court system. Like Mozambique, there's a judge. The judge is the head of the audit office. But here, of course, because of the separation of powers I talked about earlier on, we report to Parliament. Of course, functionally we report to Parliament, and then administratively, of course, to the Minister of Finance. And we are also a member of, we benchmark with, international organization, regional organization, like AfroSci, African Organization for Supreme Audit Institutions, and the International Organization for Supreme Audit Institutions. The mandate in terms of 309 zvatofana kuita is we carry out my audits akasiyana siyana. Tinogona kuita inonzi value for money, my projects kana my bridges. Makuru aya value for money, where we look at the 3 E's, that is economy, efficiency, and effectiveness, and to ensure good public service delivery to the community. And then of course to my performance audits. They are more like value for money audits, performance audit. My projects are perform say we look at issues like transparency, corruption, economy, and so on. Then financial audits, of course, that my ministries my appropriation accounts, my voted funds and my ministries then we give assurance to Parliament. Kuti mari dzacho dzakaspendwa sei, we report it to Parliament. Then pane not special audit, we can come up with special audits. Kana pane topical issues coming up, and then we come up with the reports. The mandate, of course, cover my ministries of government, my parastatals, local authorities, municipalities, rural district councils, Mara DCs, government agencies. I can say, tinoteerera pese panenge paenda public dollar. Paenda dollar pese, tinototeera toona kuti dollar iro rakashandiswa sei. So that we report. Pane vabvunzwa kuti, do we know how government is using the resources? We come up with these reports which are public, and before they are tabled in Parliament, there's a lot of interrogation in Etika. Kana kune unity Parliament on Public Accounts Committee, document my reports. If there are issues, the local kuti accounting officer, kana kuti CEO adedzwe for interrogation anodenzwa obvunzwa. And then tinoita futi anonzi ma-follow up audits. But tisina kugutsikana kuona kuti ko zvakafamba sei, kana kuti ma-recommendations edu ari kuitwa followed here. Are they adhering to rules, regulations, and procedures? We do my-follow up audits and come up with the reports at the same time. Then we can subcontract. Of course, the sphere is very big. Well, the coverage, the audit scope is very big. So at times we subcontract to audit firms, private firms. I think to put ourselves on the map, what we are doing as an office is to display a trade fair, agricultural shows, you find tinoisa reports, copies. Members of the public, you can go there and pick those reports and read for themselves. Shows later on the stakeholder meetings. I think, let me stop here. Thank you.
I'm seeing a question from Masimba. Masimba, can I ask you to give your interjection? And Tafanzo, I know you also have an interjection before we go to Honorable Lisa.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to follow up on what Brian asked around accessibility. Saka ndazwa government gazette inoita dollar but yakanyorwa neprint. Can we alright, inokwanisa kuita $9. My point ndeyekuti inini handikwanisi kuiaccessa in that format. How do we ensure kuti tinowana maybe a soft copy? Same number audit reports. How do we also make sure kuti tinowana ma soft copies so that tinoinenza issue ye-access? And ndochinje kutanga chechipiri ndinofara zvikuru sei kuti honorable Mona makasangana nema-issues ekutadza kushandisika kwama-buildings zvikuru sei ehurumende. Inova nyaya yatinogara tichimbotaura nezvayo. I would really want the MPs and as a house to look at this seriously. Also in our local authorities, could we not develop your infrastructure, engage consangere accessible. Ndinofungidzira kuti mutemo pane paunotaura kuti zvinofana kudaro, asi nokuti tinenge da kuita cut macorners hatizoiti izvozvo. We are not learning because one of the former governors wekumasvingo Maimahofa had to relocate downstairs at one point due to this issue of access. But hatisi kudzidza, and tikaramba tisingadzidzi we will continue not going anywhere because we will learn nothing and forget nothing. The last thing that I wanted to contribute ndechekuti rimwe dambudziko ratiri kusangana naro nderekuti patiri kuita sema-consultations aya nema-inquiries aya zvazvitaura dzinongova feedback hatiiwani kana kuti hatiiwani nenguva kana kuti hatiiwani nesystematic manner. Saka zvatinenge tataura iko zvino there's no way of computing that and getting data tozowana feedback kuti tinge tichikwanisa kuita follow up. I think kuti nyaya yefeedback yambotaura kuti tichaita budget feedback, but I also want kuti feedback inge iriwo in other areas where people make contributions even after my public consultations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have heard about the work of the audit office in terms of the good work they are doing. They produce reports, either they submit through the minister or directly to Parliament. So when the information gets to Parliament, Honourable, in so many times we actually see it on TV and probably read some of the documents from Parliament that you summon public officials to Parliament, then you subject them to certain questions. What happens after that process currently? And probably what are the loopholes that you can see from that, that equation? From the audit office to your office, and then probably there's another step. And what are the loopholes? And probably what are your recommendations to ensure that we safeguard the public resources?
No, thank you. That's a very good question, and I think if we are to say we have had a good session today, I then implore Zimcode or anybody to write to the Speaker of Parliament. And you can even use me as an example. We had Honorable Mliswa. In the 8th Parliament, we made recommendations on ZCDC being an illegal entity. And equally said that there was a Supreme Court ruling which bars them from mining. But they've continued to mine. Are you with me? Despite a Supreme Court ruling, despite a parliamentary recommendation. Not only that, they've actually gone further to be the ones driving the diamond policy. And I asked in Parliament to the leader of government business, when you were presenting this before Cabinet and the President was chairing this, did you bring it to his attention that the company that we are talking about has a Supreme Court ruling which says they cannot mine? Did you also bring it to the attention of the President that there's recommendations that they cannot? You need to write to the Speaker and say, Honorable Mliswa said, government has defied. Use my name. Don't scatter around. That is why Honorable Mliswa does not see value in committees anymore. I see no reason why I should sit in any committee. It's like a rabble rousing. Urukungo ita noise, Mliswa ita noise. That's why I'm glad. I'd rather save taxpayers' money, go to Parliament in my sittings, go back to my constituency. Honorable Mona is sharp, articulate, wants things to be done properly. But like he said, there's a certain point where he cannot do anything. The minister is supposed to be held in contempt. Because it said, what then happens? If the minister does not comply, the committee, through the standing order rules, holds the minister in contempt. But that has never happened. Because the majority, like she said, of the committee members are ZANU-PF. This is reality. They then go and do a caucus committee kwao. What imimi mulikuenda ku committee mkienda kunozvidira chichi. Noise yotangazwa maiona ne wange papa njira techakati zvatopera chinini. So write to the Speaker, could we now no longer have faith in this institution? Because that's the institution that's supposed to have oversight. But it doesn't. Call me my audit reports. I know about Auditor General. There is no institution in this country that works as hard as that and has produced reports. Honorable Mona will tell you, my reports are negative. But I haven't given. You should know very good. Roads are Taurus. But you were Taura, a Panachan. If political parties are serious at their caucuses, they must take those reports, Honorable Mona, and discuss them. Could happen nobody wrong, happen nobody right. You watch out we minister, you will funzo. Equally MDC too. MDC pains me because it has 16 lawyers in Parliament. ZANU-PF has got probably 4 or 5. Imagine if those lawyers were speaking. That is the most painful thing. I see brilliant minds being faded away. So EO, I've responded for you to understand. We then go to the aspect of disability. Let me apologize on behalf of all Zimbabweans. We've been insensitive. Totally insensitive. First of all, we must have a minister in charge of disability. That's the first thing. Because in India, I'll never understand. And in my normal day, I forget there are those with disability. And the only way you can change that is to have a ministry. They are 15% of the population. Why can they be given their own ministry? And then not only that, the constitution must also cater people with disability to also have seats. Can I mean 60 my only poor my seats mahara? Ngati bisei papu top out 20 kune disability, 20 kune youth, 20 kumadzimai. So I just go tell you. Madzimai 20 60 arimo hapana zvavanoita. So ngati pay disability 20, youth 20. Youth wataona. Madzimai mopiwa 20. So the marginal groups are already taken care of. And there's sheer presentation. So first of all, I totally agree with you.
Honorable Mona again apologized. We apologize. We even Parliament yacho. Aina kuti munarua mene urema no pita papi. Anogara papi. So that's out. The issue of blueprint documents. Councillor Nyamba, you are so correct. Tagara pano Auditor General. TSM Minister Tagara pano. Isa Piakawe. What were the lessons? Because any document that you are going to write, which is the blueprint document for the country, there must be lessons. Yahweh ISAP. Zim asset. I speak this painfully because I am one member of parliament who refused to have a car in 2013, if you remember. Because I got Zim asset teacher Vura Willow. Someone get Rugupi. And that was one I lost a car. Because I believed this document was serious. And I took this document serious. But I was dealing with criminals who had made this document, who were not serious. No, that's criminality. If you put a document in place and you don't implement it, so in any nature kwadi chandino believer urumende kuti ne Zim asset ndikati wilo vyo chete sei ichavuru ndoti motenga gadziro kupi kuwilo vyo ino create mabasa mu Zimbabwe andizvi iwele vyo yakavurwe mota ikaenda. And you know, these are good cars, by the way. But I do it sincere. Motekenda. Tamanya ku TSP. Saka patakataza pa Zima set chi. Hapana atatawa ku Zima set yaka porongwa hapa. Yapa porongwa hapa. Kasi chilipo kuti hapana chakaitwa pa Zima set. Hapana implementation yakaitwa. Tamanya ku 10-point plan. Ino papa 10-point plan ya chi chakaitwa. Tamanya 100 days, honorable 100 days. The other minister come report 100 days. Chicha 100 days. So I totally agree. It is a sheer waste of time when as citizens now you must say, "Cause my documents is a munongo nyora. Ukumuna nikagapiwa mali. Hazishande. Hapana zashineta." So it is a way these documents mean nothing at all. We are just deceiving people every day. That's why the electorate must be clever in that any government, any party that deceives you, vote it out. Don't hesitate, because they will continue deceiving you. If you're worried about voting them out, then vote the independent. And then we make progress.
Thank you, Honorable.
Sorry, Ndakupeta. Aiwa, Adizukapena, Diskumira 2023. Auditor General's reports, I must say, you know, this is a department that I get hurt. If you read their reports, their recommendations, everything is there. Line ministries, where minds, where finance, honorable mona, dimi boso, where apana zavataura. Ndiri nimoza ndota rachoka. Ndiri boso, anongo yasaka tino famba say, kawa noya kufunginyana racheka. Ndio minister of mind yacho vatumwa but anochita kutaura kuti zvaanotaura panapa tikada kumubvunza mubvunzo basa rinopera. So we know what? No, but what I'm saying is serious. We cannot just have people warming seats in this dispensation. The people must say we want people who are accountable. Being accountable is answering to this forum. Kuti wauya kuti Minister of Finance not ndauya kuzoteerera achienda yenyika sadza racho musavape ndizvo zvamafanira kuzoteerera. But mungatipe mubvunzo ezo tiri nothing legislators panapa muchiti ndauya kuzoteerera. Aiwa munofana kurespecta kana isu tauya tomirira vanhu avo ndo bosi wenyika ndo chairman wefinance. Saka ivo vari kutaura imi kuteerera. Saka chii chamuchaita nacho nekuteerera. Aiwa no, we need to inertia inotaura naspeaker. Document yataura yamataura kuti uyu budget yogoromonzi akuta kuti budget inozoapprova 4 months 5 months. Rate yezvinezvi yaenda haichatomuzikana. Akuti zvandakapindira muofisi handizvo ndakugara pazvichaita. And then finally, which I want to appeal to the people of Zimbabwe, we must exercise political maturity. We are not there. The day that you see capacity, not a party in somebody, then this country will move forward. The day you don't see the party, forget the party, see the capacity in the person. That's when you will get true representation at the end of the day. And that's what we must yearn for. Wekanzuro, inzvadoka ndakataura vanoziva vazinyemba vari chairman wekanzuro. marates anobhadhara vanhu shandisai kuservice delivery. Tikaona maexecutives enyu vachidhiraivha mota dzakanaka hapana anobhadhara. Uku mvura hatina, uku chakati hatina. Saka tangai maendesa mari kuservice delivery, then vanhu votanga vakubhadhara, then mozotenga mota dzamunoda. Maita here.
Thank you very much. We've all had a chance to, I think we've tried to say, oh, Dan, so are you really burning?
Yeah.
All right. Can you, thank you.
Sorry, Madam Facilitator.
It's okay.
I think ndatambira zvisingaite zvataurwa naComrade Monda panyaya post budget feedback meeting. Totoda kuti iwe ichinzi post budget performance feedback meeting. Kana yakauya iri quarterly tinofara chaizvo sevagari because inyaya yechikwama chedu chateisa sei tida kuti tione tinofamba sei. Shumba handichabvunzi nenyaya 15 billion ndofunga nguva dzavhura tobvunzana pakati.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of our session. I am now going to ask John Maketo on behalf of Zimcode to just give a brief explanation ne feedback yavo, performance feedback yavo, kuti yenyu process sema expectations amataura mati zvinhu zvichaenda kupi. So if they can nechipimbu vangotsanangura process yavo, then toenda to the last bit. John?
Sure, thank you very much, Sakile. Firstly, let me say thank you, everyone. This has been one live roundtable discussion, and one that satisfies us at Zimcode. We are particularly happy when we see stakeholders from across the political divide, from across various sectors, coming together discussing issues of national development. And I'm happy that we have got people who matter in our midst and who, even though honorable havana kutaura, but indavabata pavatanga kutaura pamati my expectations pepe vati ndauya kuzonzwa, so that we carry forward some of these inputs. We believe kuti vamwe havana kutaura asi vanzwa ma issues and they will carry them forward. It's one step forward that they are here. Previously, taimbovashaya kunyange tikanoka nyange tikainvita, they would not come. So we are very grateful that they are even here. We have got various representation from all stakeholders. We are happy with that. Saka going forward, tinotenda kuti even zvinoramba zvichidaro, but process ino haina kuperera panapa. We are continuing to gather these inputs and consolidating them from citizens, and we are also documenting them. The next step from here is we are knocking at doors, starting with the committee, Honorable Mona. We are coming, and also budget office, Mr. Pepukai, we are coming, and then Kune committee, interministerial technical committee, it will work around this issue alignment of the Public Finance Management Act. Will be at their doorstep to present the citizens' input on that alignment process. Nekuti already there is a discussion paper rakaitwa ne interministerial task force iyoyo, ma submissions e parliament tamanzwa, saka IMT tongoti yakamirira executive, parliament yaita input yayo. We also want the citizens' input in that process, kuti process yacho iwe complete. So this process is building up to the citizens' voice towards the alignment process, and all voices will be captured correctly. We do hope that we have an opportunity to gather again and present our input as a way of feedback before we submit. This is the paper we are presenting to these stakeholders I mentioned before. That is done. I think in very short, that would be my submission. Thank you, Sagin.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you very much. I am now going to ask our meeting kuti uchuvharwa musangano. We will be tinenge tichivharwa musangano wedu neboard member yeZimcode, Masimba, who has given his contributions as well today. Masimba, over to you.
Good afternoon, Masquera say. Right.
chekutanga toda kutenda tese tauya kumeeting ineyi. Ma-members of parliament tanga tinawo, maseja tanga tinawo, vanhu vemapazi ehurumende akasiyana-siyana tanga tinawo, ma-councillors tanga tinawo. So as you can see, it's a cross-section of the citizenry of Zimbabwe, which is gathered here in their various capacities. But tikabvisa ese zvikundla zvese zvandanichitaura tinosara tiri maZimbabweans. And I think what is important and what is key and what we have shown today ndezvekuti tese tinoda kuti Zimbabwe inge ichikwanisa kuendera mberi. We may argue from time to time kuti toshandisa nzira ipi kana tofamba sei, asi tinofanira kunge tichikwanisa kuramba tichitaurirana kuti toita sei kuti Zimbabwe inge ichikwanisa kuendera mberi. I think the important thing ndechekuti generation yedu inofanira kunge ichizokwanisawo kusiyira generation inoteera Zimbabwe inoshanda, Zimbabwe yabudirira kudarika patiriko zvino, Zimbabwe inokwanisa kuchengetedza mari yayo. Ndichitaura kudai, Norway ine imwe yainoti sovereign wealth fund. Ndofunga taitombovawo nayo muno. Mari yachona handisi kuziva kuti yakazotenga ma4x4x5 here kana kuti chakazviki. But taitombowa nayo. Norway has the biggest sovereign wealth fund in the world, which goes into billions of dollars. And Norway ine oil yainayo, and they discovered oil pasi pe sea. They did all the surveys and they have all the maps as we speak right now. But wakati isusu ma resources atinawo iko zvino anokwana andidika. For the next 30 or 40 years, zvinhu zvinokwana. So I am a map nechi taakuzokwanisa kuti pastage yatasvika itozongosiyira the next generation for them to explore. And just indicating kuti it's important to invest in the future, and it's important to have something to show out of my resources that we get now. That's the understanding of public finance management, which is key. Mari yedu in terms of public finance, ingava yemtero, ingava 2% yatisiri kuda kubhadhara tichibhadhara, it's still public finance, which we should manage properly. So I want to thank every one of us for coming here. I really hope kuti nyaya haipereri panapa, ticharamba tichiendera mberi. As you can see kuti tese we have a role to play. Ngangoti iwe ndine basa as we go forward. Kwatiri kungava kudzidzisana nezvekuti bumbiro remutemo rinoti chii, kungava kutaura ma-fellow members of parliament kuti vanhu vari kuti chii kunzoko. We all have a role to play. And if we play our roles in the manner that we are supposed to play, then we become a winning team. Dambudziko nderekuti uri striker unenge uchiita back pass, iwe uchifanira kuti uise bhora mugedhi. Ndo patinoita dambudziko. Saka toda kutendawo nevakokeri vechirongwa inova secretariat yeZimcourt vakwanisa kutiunganidza panapa, nevamwe vese vatanga tichishanda navo, vanga vachiita kuti zvinge zvichinzwikwawo nevamwe zvinge zvichitepenurwa kumativi ose enyika. Toda kukutendai. Tinovimba kuti tichazokwanisa kusangana tichitaura kuti kubva paipai takaita zvakati nezvakati panyaya dzevanditaura. As I said, ngatirambei tichikurukura, tive nezororo rakanaka rinotangira pazororo rekuwana kusvitonga kuzere, tozopinda muzororo reEaster. Tatenda.
Thank you, Masimba. Thank you to our board member. Tinokutendai chaizvo, dzokororo rine simba, siyalivonga, tinotenda. Thank you very much for your participation, for your contributions papa mambokoka mweya mamwati makamane hasha mbichana mukambosimudzirwa. But I think manzwawo process yeZimcode it is accountable. Unokwanisa kuti mufollow up naiwo kuti munzwe kuti haufa. Vati vari muroad rambai munayo road yacho. Tinotenda vauya nesu, we are very grateful. We're going to ask you tine chisambawo chatafambisa kan'ane tichiti ingopimaiwo kuti musangano mauona sei kana pane zvinhu zvinoda kuti zviitwe tichigadzira basa rachinenge tichatinda mberi zvirinani kuti mutiudze kuti tigadzirise pachine nguva. Other than that, kunonzi vati ukama unori huno zvadziswa nekudya. Saka tinenge tichida kuti we are inviting you for lunch, but there is a process of doing that. There is an administrative team yeZimcode iripo inenge tichibetsera. Kana usina kunyoresa kuti uri pano, tokumbura kuti unyorese because zviziviso zvekuti apapi paprocess zvinodiwa kana manyorawo register. Mukasanyora register, papa patinoita kuita mafeedback nema-update, unowana umo muWhatsApp group, unowana upo pa-SMS platform, unowana upo parunhare. So let's try and make sure that we've shared our communication and we've signed our participants list. With that, thank you very much. All the best for the Independence Day and the Easter weekend that comes after that. Nemaroad acho arikunza negoride asiri paved with gold. Ngatifambei with safety nasho. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Thank you very much.